difficulties. But go ahead, Dan.
I'm here. I'm just muted for a reason. Somebody was asking me something. But go ahead, fellas. I'll be joining the conversation in less than a minute or two.
All right. So the Democratic Party, they're very happy that he was murdered, even though they like to talk about how they're the party of intolerance and whatnot. But I think everybody is pretty much under the strong impression that these people are violent and psychotic animals. And they believe in assassinating their political opponents or silencing anybody that gets in their way, like a wild, heathen, spoiled child would do. These people are crazy. Now, they're trying to say, or it's out there, that this was a hit. What's up, Blood Boiling? What's up, Carlton? A lot of people are saying that this was a hit. So here's a video that surfaced that might bring some truth to it. Let's take a look.
You know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence? Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
Now, both of you guys were in the military. You're both Marines. Charles, weren't you a sniper? Oh, that's right. I forgot he's busy.
No, I was in the Army. I wasn't a sniper, but everybody's a marksman in the military. I mean, if that's roughly 200 yards, that was done by a rifle shot, not a handgun.
Right. Take a look at this video.
And I saw the video.
It looks like some obvious signaling right there.
I'm gonna play it again. I'm gonna take the volume off, and I want the audience to take a look. And then, okay, so Lewis, what do you see?
He's hitting his brim and he hit his ear. And then the gentleman in the black doing arm signals.
And then, of course, the gunshot.
And I saw multiple videos that's on X. It's too explicit to show here because the stream would get cut off. It was a clean shot in his neck. And from my speculation, that bullet went and hit his vertebrae. He was dead on the spot. And you see the blood gushing out. So, yeah, hit that jugular vein.
Yeah, it was very graphic. It popped him. He froze up, and then he reached for his neck, and then, of course, it started water hosing.
He fell off the chair.
Yeah.
It was a kill shot.
Yeah. And apparently there's video. Actually, there's two videos. There's one where people, just like with Trump, where they saw somebody on the roof, laid out on the roof. And then there's a video of the guy that was laid out on the roof. As soon as the gunshot went off, he was running across the roof.
Yeah, I have that video too.
Yeah, you got it. Throw it up.
Okay, hold on. Let me take this down. Because remove that. Boom. Video. Roof. All right. Open. Boom. All right, present that.
Somebody's on the roof. On the roof. Look.
You would think that. So there's somebody on the roof right there?
Laying down.
He just ran from over where's my finger? From over there, ran in. Now he's right there.
Right there.
There's another one too. With
You got it?
inside. I got it. Let me find it. where it was taken inside the college out the window, and they were looking.
Oh,
And
in the cafeteria area.
Yeah, and they were
Yeah.
running across the roof because
Now, go ahead.
the window was by in top of the bleachers, looking down, watching Charlie Kirk when the mayhem started. I think I downloaded it. Let me look at my Google Drive.
Right. They were saying that there were two people on the ground who were the distraction in order to help the shooter get away. The old man, who of course let them hog tie him and let his pants fall down. He was screaming, "I did it! I did it!" That's why he was the first suspect. But he is in there for obstruction of justice. But they really do need to start digging into his cell phone and his associations, because why would you start yelling that? Also, there was another person that they found who had a BB gun on them that was pretending that they were involved. You say, I wonder if they called and reported it. What's up, Detroit? So while Lewis finds that, we're going to get to some reactions. Let's see here. What is this here?
Oh my God. You know, it's crazy. I've been speaking on this politics stuff for a while. You know, I don't have any whatever, but y'all shot Charlie Kirk. Y'all were demanding war with the wrong party. We're not mentally insane. We're not crazy. We know what the fuck we're doing, and we know what the fuck we see. And y'all just shot a harmless Charlie Kirk because of words. But y'all want the Second Amendment going. It's war. It's war. I don't care how y'all feel. I don't care what y'all think. I don't care what's going on. Oh, and fuck you. There's a war going on outside. Nobody's safe from. And I'm not gonna be the one that y'all. I'm not a victim. You understand me? I'm a soldier, not fighting for y'all. Y'all shot my boy. We going. Trump, let's go.
There are plenty of videos that are all over social media of guys talking like him that are not afraid, because they're countering this message here.
I'm not saying she deserved it, but I'm saying God's timing is always right.
These people are absolutely despicable. Remember, this is the same side that's telling you they're about doing the right thing and about being virtuous and about supporting people and about doing the right thing. These people are disgusting. They're not saying, hey, praying for him, hope he recovers. No, they're cheering the fact that a man was out speaking to a crowd in public, got shot in the neck, and blood was spurting out of his neck like it was a water hose. And they're cheering it on. These people are disgusting. It hasn't even been 2 hours. Absolutely disgusting. And I have some more things I want to say, but I want to wait to get confirmation on who this shooter was so we learn more about their intentions and why they did what they did. But these people saying these things, disgusting. Now don't forget, it's interesting because the same thing almost happened to Donald Trump. So again, I want to wait for more details to come out before I say much more, but it's interesting how all this dramatic high level of violence is happening against people on the right and not the left. That's just an observation that I've noticed. Anyway, just a reminder, I have a free email newsletter where I go into more detail on many of these topics.
So you said, so what is he gonna do? Same thing you should do. Tool up. I've been telling y'all, what, for the past 2 years, really, tool up. Even Professor Black Truth told y'all to tool up. Tool up. It's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. Blood will be shed. You see all of these random shootings going on practically every other day. You don't get a text message early in the morning. Shooting at your local Walmart today, scheduled for 4:28 p.m. starting in produce. You don't get those text messages. They just happen. So you have to ask yourself, are you going to be cowering in the cereal aisle, hoping that they don't see you behind the Fruit Loops? Are you going to be ready to be safe? And Cyan one said, people are just dumb because right now the last thing we should be doing is dividing our attention away from the possibility of being drawn into a war in Europe just because we're part of the UN. We're not going to be drawn into no war with Europe. Trump will sell you weapons before he sends troops. He'll sell you weapons before he sends troops. I hear you, but yeah, that's his plan. I mean, look at Ukraine. He told them, y'all can buy some missiles, but we're not giving you anything. The gravy train is over. Remember, he threw him out. He threw old boy out the White House, told him to go home to mommy. This is Tix. This is the comments of the show. They cheered when Kevin Samuels passed. Right. These are the type of psychopaths that we're dealing with. They say it's horrible that there were so many people lauding over his death instead of being concerned about the shooter being found, who apparently is still at large. And then, of course, you had a fight break out in Congress. If I get it to play. Hold on.
Let's.
There we go.
Wait.
Okay. All right.
What purpose does the gentlelady from Colorado rise?
So what happened was, Luna called for a moment of silence concerning.
Let's wait a minute.
She called for a moment of silence for what happened to Charlie Kirk, and somebody on the Democratic side screamed out no, as if to say F him. These are members of Congress. Members of Congress. And this is how they act.
Wait a minute. The House will be in order. The House will be in order. Shh. The House will be in order. Shh. The House will be in order. We will join prayer right after this, okay?
Yeah, that's just wild. But here's the update as far as what's going on with him.
We are back here for you on Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Mike Page. Thanks again for joining us, continuing to bring you the breaking news coverage of Charlie Kirk murdered in Utah at his event. The Utah governor calling it a political assassination. We've heard already from President Trump. We'll play that out for you a little bit later, just in case if you're just joining us here on Live Now from Fox. But really, the big news since this shooting, though, is that the suspect's still on the loose. An active manhunt is going on right now in Utah. Before, they did have a person detained. They were questioning that person, but then we hear from FBI Director Kash Patel saying the subject in custody has been released after an interrogation by law enforcement. Our investigation continues, and we will continue to release information in interest of transparency. So I want to obviously continue to talk about this. Let's bring in our next guest to help break down what the investigation might look like right now in this hour. Scott Duffy, former FBI agent, thanks so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. And yeah, this is a story now where we think, okay, maybe we have someone detained, they're going to be the suspect, and now looks like it's back to square one.
And the only reason why we're really going through Fox News with this is because MSNBC, they were trying to say, well, maybe it was somebody from MAGA shooting off a gun in celebration. I mean, some really heinous stuff. They were trying to blame Donald Trump. You saw Fred Flintstone, aka Pritzker, trying to blame Donald Trump. Of course, they keep, for some reason, I don't know why the Democrats keep bringing up January 6th. Nobody gives a good goddamn about January 6th. Lewis, do you care about January 6th?
Nope.
Charles, do you care about January 6th? Anybody in the chat, do you care about January 6th? But they keep going back to January 6th as if that means something. But it only means something to them. Even in my TikTok, I'll be posting these stories, especially this one. Well, what about January 6th? What about January 6th? What about it? What about BLM? Since you want to go all the way back to some wildness, what about the past couple months? What about just last week?
Yeah, I got the roof video.
You got it? Okay. Yeah, the week before that, and the week before that, and the week before that. Shoot. Nobody cared about no goddamn January 6th. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this again. I never did see the guy running across the roof. He's supposed to be up here somewhere.
Yeah, he's up there.
He's supposed to be up in the top left, but
I'm gonna show you. Right there.
Right here. Is this supposed to be him?
Yeah, that's him right there.
Where this pole is, to the left of this pole?
Yep. Watch, wait.
Yeah, the people for January 6th, Trump pardoned the people that were railroaded by the FBI and the DOJ at that time just because they walked in the building. I mean, they, no pun intended, trumped up the charges on these people. Some of those January 6th people are still in jail because they assaulted police officers. But everybody else, that when the cops waved them in and opened the doors and they were walking through the Capitol because the cops let them in, yeah, those people got like severe charges, overcharged, lied. Yeah, Trump gave those people pardons, not the ones that were assaulting people. They don't tell you that because, you know, it's CNN and MSNBC. But by the way, MSNBC they issued an apology for their coverage on Charlie Kirk's assassination, where they were trying to, you know, make it, oh, he must have been MAGA, or, you know, like, man, if y'all don't go somewhere with that, So what's going on here?
Yeah, good evening, Micah. Thanks for having me on. It is back to square one, and I tell you, it's somewhat of a roller coaster ride that I haven't seen, I would say, not only in my career, my post-career, with as much attention that is being put on people in custody, detained, questioned, and then released. And it's kind of leaving the public to believe, okay, it's all clear and safe to return. So I'm skeptical about anything that's released with regards to a person who's been detained. I just I don't like that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's still so fluid right now where, okay, so what happens or when a shooting happens with a large event like this taking place at this campus in Utah, they have an idea that this person was on a roof. I mean, what are they looking at as far as security and everything else when it comes to videotapes around?
Yeah, you and I no different than the rest of the world who are combing through all their social media videos, everything that's being put out with regards to the audience, this individual that I think we have all seen, this figure on a rooftop. So, and you can imagine that there's probably many more photos and videos that are out there that are helping police, helping the FBI and other law enforcement agencies to narrow down the search. So like anything else that we have discussed, unfortunately, with these tragedies, active shooters, mass shooters, attempt assassinations, as we have seen twice on President Trump's life, and then, of course, tonight, the unspeakable tragedy of what is being called an assassination and a political assassination with regards to the life of Charlie Kirk. So right now, there was a dragnet when this first took place, as it should be, and as the perimeter is growing because the individual is not in custody, and which each and every passing hour, that perimeter continues to expand, if there is even a perimeter as we speak, depending on what they have or have set up, roadblocks, etc. So now they're doing a deep dive, and if we do not see something within a couple hours, that this will turn into a full-fledged fugitive hunt.
Yeah, and
so how long you think it'll be before they catch this guy?
What was that, Bane?
I said, how long do you think it'll be before they catch this guy?
Probably next day or two.
A day or two? Over, under, between now and Monday?
Yep.
Yeah. You know, I mean, outside of the whole him being assassinated and everything, especially now that we know, I mean, of course we knew it was an assassination. It's just a matter of who's all involved, but this Democratic Party is not the Democratic Party that we grew up with. I mean, they always pretended that they were for the working class and the middleman and everything, but now they're not. And the way that they've been behaving the past couple of years, especially now, clearly they're not a political party anymore. They are a criminal organization disguised as a political party with the things that they've been doing and trumpeting and how they protect crime and criminals and hire people to assassinate their political opponents with Trump. Then you had the woman up in not Wisconsin, in Minnesota, her and her husband who were shot and killed. That same guy who shot and killed that woman and her husband, he also shot 2 other Minnesota leaders, government leaders, before he was caught. He wrote a letter detailing everything that he was doing, and he sent it to Kash Patel because he figured either he would get away or would be KIA, deleted in action. But he was too cowardly to take himself out. That's why when they found him, he was curled up in the fetal position. I mean, we're talking about a Democratic Party that wants to keep criminal cartel members in the country. We're talking about a Democratic Party that got extremely pissed off when that drug boat from Venezuela was destroyed. He said, I don't know. I figured that backtracking through video footage, of course, there's no word to the public if they slow down any fast transportation. Yeah. He said, maybe Monday. He said, I have a feeling that this is going to happen at the anti-Trump protest coming up. And you know what, Detroit? That's something that I wanted to bring up. And you tell me, Lewis. What do you think the fallout from this is going to happen as far as socially, boots on the ground?
I have a slightly different opinion, and before I say it, I'm going to give the disclaimer that what I'm saying does not reflect the views of anyone on this panel but myself. If you're on the East Coast right now, today is 9/11. 24 years with the attacks of the World Trade Center. I think this was a ritual killing. This man was martyred. And I'm very concerned about a lot of our people acting a fucking fool on social media. And I'm going to say this about Charlie Kirk. There was some of the stuff that I heard that he said that I liked, but a lot of this stuff was semi white supremacist rhetoric.
Like what?
Some of the stuff he was saying about the black community and everything,
give me an example.
I do not. I'll bring a video up, but right now I just want to make this statement. And I apologize that I don't have that stuff ready right now.
Go ahead, take your time.
But I think because they couldn't get Trump, they got this man, they made him a martyr. And this has the potential to be a signal to any sleeper cells out there that want to get their Turner Diaries fantasies on. And right now, I encourage everybody to really however you feel, if you feel negative about him, keep your freaking mouth shut and keep your eyes and ears open, because right now, the situation got people very emotional, and it has the potential, like yesterday rather, because I'm on the East Coast, when this unfortunate assassination attempt happened, you also had an attack at Colorado school.
Oh yeah, it was a school shooting this today.
And thoughts and prayers out to everyone that was affected there. And also, I like to give my condolences to the wife and children of Charlie Kirk. And however I may feel about him, about the situation, my understanding, I may be wrong about this. If I am, I apologize and somebody's going to correct me. But from my understanding, that his wife and children was there when that happened, and nobody should experience something like that. Family members seeing their loved ones killed. This got the potential. You got a lot of psychopaths on both sides. They're going to go after probably soft targets. I remember what happened a couple years ago at the supermarket in Buffalo. You see a lot of us, because we didn't have fathers and really mothers that give a fuck about us. So we want something like, have some belonging, and we act a fool online. I've seen a lot of heinous stuff, like, if we deserve it or not, but just you need to have this concept of situational awareness. And you need to look at the context of everything on how the society is going. For the past 2 years, you heard on the news, the country's divided, civil war. When was that we did that Patreon video on that Civil War movie that they made?
Rampage 1, 2, and 3.
No, the Civil War one.
Civil War with Kristen Dunst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the past 10 years, you had these purge movies coming out. These people, they put these things out way in advance before they enact stuff. And what is one of the talking points of people on the right? That you have all this radicalization that's done in these universities. People in the chat, if you have a loved one, a family member that's attending these colleges, tell them to keep their head on a swivel, because I wouldn't be surprised if someone go in these universities and start blasting people because of that. And also, you know how these white supremacists love to do? They like to go after soft targets. Keep your head on a swivel. Be aware of your surroundings. I think this might have the potential to be a flashpoint where the threads come apart in this nation. And like him or not, you turned this man into a martyr. But, the person that assassinated him hasn't been caught yet. And I don't want to say, who could have did it until the person is caught. There's a possibility that this might be a patsy. It is just real strange because, today on the East Coast, today is 9/11, and on 9/10, this happens. I mean, these people, they do things on certain dates, rituals, and everything. I mean, things just don't happen like that. And with the video I showed, with the signals, I mean, it's a possibility somebody from the right killed this man as an excuse to get the emotions high so something could pop off. And you got a lot of unhinged individuals. This economy, we're going towards a depression. Like you always say, Bay, I got to send you a royalty check. We are a third world country with first world amenities. And you say it all the time. And shout out to Bitter Truth, because you spoke facts with that. Generations ago, your father, your grandfather could work a decent wage job and buy a home. Today, nobody can, you can't even afford a home. People are gaslit, they're frustrated that the food is going up, things that the American dream right now in a lot of people's eyes are unattainable. And you have things like this, and is at the breaking point. And I'm very concerned, and I'm keeping my head on a swivel. And this might be a possibility. It's an inside job, but this possibility that it's not. I mean, I've been following 9/11, and I've been questioning things all my life, and I'm questioning everything. But I'm not going to go out there and like a freaking clown and put yourself up out there celebrating this man's demise. I mean, and people out there, they see you when you do that shit, and you're already an easy target because you're no longer the dominant minority in this fucking country. And what was the man that on the Boondocks, he said you lost all your fucking collateral as a people?
Wunsler?
Yeah, you lost all your fucking collateral as a people, and you made yourselves look like fucking clowns out on the news. And like in the words of David Carroll, and I'm going to pull up that video when he was talking about Ferguson. People are fucking watching you. They're plotting. They're getting prepared. For decades, you got these preppers out here. People are stocking up on fucking ammo. They're going out to the ranges, honing their fucking skills. They're storing water. They're storing food. They're teaching their kids how to shoot weapons. But yet, you're acting like a fucking ape. And you're putting yourself out there as a fucking target. And the thing is, no, those dumbasses ain't going to get hit. Somebody's fucking grandmother, grandfather that's shopping in the store, and you're going to have one of these guys snap and see them as an easy target, and they're the ones that's taken out. I mean, yo, keep yourself on high alert. On the real. Keep for the next few weeks, months, keep yourself in high alert. And I apologize if I went on a tangent, but
No,
I had to get that off my chest.
You're fine. Oh, hey, that's what we're here for. I wanna touch on something dude said about the whole. He said he would not get on a plane. He said Charlie Kirk wouldn't go on a plane if there was a female black pilot because she was a DEI hire. Well, you have to understand the root of DEI was that they were just pushing people through that weren't qualified for their jobs. And what wound up happening with the FAA and these unqualified female pilots, you had planes skidding off runways, you had near mid-air collisions. I mean, soon as Trump took office, what was one of the biggest airline stories that happened? The Black Hawk helicopter incident where that chick refused to follow orders and wound up killing her passengers, and 70 people, children, mainly children, on an airplane that was landing because she didn't want to follow orders. Typical liberal female. 6 months behind the helicopter sticks, and they had been telling people, hey, she's not ready. She doesn't take command well. And as much as you guys sit here and bitch, moan, whine, and complain about black women, now you're mad because Charlie Kirk said he wouldn't want to be on the plane with one of them with spiders makeup and weave flying a commercial jet. I wouldn't want to do it either. Give me a grizzled old veteran that's been flying planes since he was 30 years old. I don't want somebody fresh out of the academy that got passed because of their skin color. Talking about some here the keys. We see how it worked out with our mayors. Brandon Johnson, Tiffany Henyard, Gloria Cantrell, DAs, Pamela Price, Shane Tao, Jasmine Crockett. Give me something else. Give me something else. Give me something that's actually racist. Anybody. Let's all sing the national anthem together. What? American math, white man murks, white man equals black man's fault. How was that? Say, we've been saying women can't drive. What is such a big deal to question if they can fly? Right. I mean, I guess they get super smart because they behind the plane. You say, so black people can only get these jobs because of DEI. No. But during the Biden administration, During the Biden administration, unqualified people, not just people of color, but white too, were getting jobs that they weren't qualified for. That includes white women, gay white men, gay black men, and black females. As long as you went along with the democratic status quo, they would push you through. Look at what's going on with Harvard. They wound up turning Harvard into the world's most expensive community college. They had to institute remedial math in Harvard, remedial math, because the students that they let in through DEI programs didn't know how to do 2 + 2 = 4. That president of Harvard, the dean of Harvard, the bald-head black chick, they wound up having to fire her because she was plagiarizing the test.
You know what? I got to say something real quick, because I know for some reason people want to talk about being a raccoon. But see, these are the same idiots that come over to our spaces, will glorify man, because here's the problem. And this is why white people will always have you in your back pocket, black people. None of you will ever go on this stream and try to debate my black ass, or Bay, or Lewis. None of you will ever pay what you weigh, but you'll say some sneaky shit when people tell you bring your ass up. The funniest part about this is I don't have to like what a person says. Could a guy like Charlie Kirk debate me? Sure. But I could turn the tables on him easily, because I would say, let me ask you this question. What about white on white crime? Well, you don't see other races of people. Well, you don't see other people being fucked with by the government like black people historically were. You didn't see redlining for white people, did you? How do you have? Yes, we have proof of that. I'm in the city where the shit started, basically. But because black people have learned to be so sensitive that they can't even debate a person with rudimentary levels of understanding shit, I am smart enough to mourn a person to say, guess what? I might not like this guy, I might not agree to his guy, but his children has nothing to do with it. His wife lost a husband, his children lost a father. I don't have to be boo-hoo crying, but that's fucked up. And I think it's doubly fucked up that anybody will kill you over your opinion. Because people don't know what just happened just now. A person got silenced for the First Amendment. Do y'all follow me, folks?
Yeah.
A person got silenced on a college campus where your children and some of you, your grandchildren, are supposed to be safe. So if I say something that's anti whatever you believe, you have all right to take my life. I don't give a shit. There's many people I don't agree with. We used to have something called debates, where two people would shake their hands before and after. That's the beautiful thing about wrestling. You have to shake hands before the match and after the match to show sportsmanship. But because a lot of you bitch-made motherfuckers out there listen to your mothers on how men should conduct themselves instead of her letting you live with your father, You became as bitchy, as emotional as she is. Everybody's a fucking racist. Guess what? Not everybody for you is your friend, and not everybody against you is your enemy. You should learn that very quickly. I bet you 9 times out of 10, the classes you probably learned the most was the classes you hated. But because you have this DEI way of thinking, because you can't get out your fee-fees, you think people are raccooning. Because I'm going to have a difference of opinion than you. Think about it. Most of you motherfuckers are pro-black. Most of you motherfuckers claim you pro-black, but when's the last time you helped a black person?
You know my definition of pro-black. Pro-black protects, defends, celebrates, and condones criminality more than anything, simply because it's done by a black person.
Exactly. And see, here's the fucked up part. Most of you can't even check your own mothers, sisters, or daughters. I don't agree with Charlie Kirk when he says stupid shit. But I agree that he should have had the right to go home to his family. Because this is what I'm going to tell people. If they're bold enough to do that on an open college campus, they'll do that to anybody.
Hey, Charles.
Mm-hmm.
If the kitchen get hot, how many of these soy boy motherfuckers that be able to handle the heat, the pressure? You was over there in Fallujah.
They shooting. They shooting.
Hardly any. But yet, I'm the raccoon. But I'm the motherfucker, well, like Lou, who actually went places to defend your rights to talk shit. Maybe, just maybe, you need to go to a country where you need to earn your rights. The problem with the black community is you're still living off the backs of motherfuckers from 60, 70 years ago. None of you have not even a 100th of the courage of Dr. King or the Honorable Malcolm X.
Or Khalid Muhammad.
Not even that. Not even Khalid Muhammad. None of you. And you know which ones I'm talking to. Because we speak in generalities and not totalities. And the sinister part about this is there was once upon a time when black people actually were the moral compass of this motherfucker.
You know what's funny, Charles? The motherfucker that came in this chat room got all the smoke with you, but wouldn't have smoke with the true enemy.
No, you're right.
Quick hitter.
Black man. Yeah,
because y'all got false narratives out there, and y'all should be ashamed of yourself. Y'all black. Y'all are black. And y'all sitting up here beating and attacking on a black woman that's in power. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves.
But yet,
continue.
But yet, that's the type of motherfucker ripping you off. There's a reason why I give people like Bay and Lewis their flowers every time I get. If it wasn't for Bay and his dad, most of you motherfuckers wouldn't even know what the word conscious means. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up.
Look it up.
But you gotta tell a Marine and a soldier, we cooning. Can't coon unless you have a country, nigga. Well. That ain't right. That ain't shit right. There's some things right and some things wrong. I just got off the phone with my godson talking about religion and how things are subjective in religion because it's a belief. There are no absolutes in religion. Just like there's very few absolutes in God. How can you name the unnameable? This is the part where we look and say, this man was made a martyr, like me and Lewis said on the phone.
Before you continue, as soon as you finish, pass the mic to ABM.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Go ahead.
This man was made a martyr. And whatever white supremacy group, hold on. This man could be made a martyr by God knows who, by God knows what group. See, how many times, Bay, have I told black people arm themselves? How many of you black people even took to the range, got your permit to carry, got a firearm? Do you even have a loaded firearm underneath your bed, your mattress, your pillow?
Do you know how to clean it?
Do you know how to clean it? Do you know how to troubleshoot it?
Do you know how to properly load the rounds into the magazine?
I still got all that food and water and toilet tissue stored up.
Mm-hmm.
Because if Kamala would have won, we'd have been in trouble, but I digress.
Yeah, no maintenance, no preventive maintenance. See, and I'm glad
you know how to store the firearm.
Click what Mela just said. Our people tend not to invest in one another. No stockpile, no ammunition. You have no bartering system. On your block, who can you trust to have your back? But y'all worried about who's cooning. Man, you better be worried about who done the dirty work for you to fucking survive. See, black veterans paid a price that even white veterans and veterans of other races did not do. They bought us more time to go push forward. And what's the thanks do they get? Your ass to kiss. Go ahead, ABM.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's up, Cockadoodle?
Can y'all hear me?
You, loud and clear.
Yeah, what's up?
Okay. Hey, look. So, look, man. I'm gonna try to keep it simple as I can. Me personally, I don't watch a whole hell of a lot of these right-wing talking heads like Charlie Kirk. I just don't. I choose not to for my own mental sanity, my own mental health. I'm gonna, so the obvious thing to say is, hey, I don't like seeing nobody getting killed because you didn't like their point of view about something. And Charlie Kirk honestly was a nobody in the grand scheme of things. He might have had a following. He might have been able to make some money. He might have been invited to the White House a few times, whatever the fuck. But at the end of the day, he's not a policymaker. So I never understood what was all the big deal about, why black people so bent out of shape about whatever the fuck he's talking about. Because let's face it, Charlie Kirk was he's you know how it is. You're a regular white man, but you get to be regular when you're white and get to have shit. At the end of the day, I don't care too much one way or another. I didn't care too much about Charlie Kirk when he was alive. I'm not gonna care that much now that he's deceased to get online and celebrate his death and talk shit about him. I wasn't talking shit about him yesterday. So why am I talking shit about him today? Charlie Kirk, to me personally, was nobody.
There you go.
That's how I look at it. And I don't feel the need to sit on here and do all this weird shit where everybody want to get online for these clicks and views and talk shit about him and celebrating. Because but I will say this though, to all the right wingers, right, who's so upset today about Charlie Kirk's demise. Y'all were some of the same people that made memes and shit with that cop on George Floyd's neck. So I would say to them, is this funny too? I'm just saying, if I made my Charlie Kirk meme, would I be out of line for that? See, this is the goofy shit on both ends that I'm talking about.
Speak that.
And this is why I'm an independent. A lot of people hear me talk. They hear me say I voted for Trump and shit. They assume I'm a Republican. No, I'm not a Republican. I am a registered independent. That's what my shit says. In fact, here in Maryland, it doesn't say independent. It says non-affiliated.
Unaffiliated.
Okay, so I'm not a Republican. And the reason why I'm not a Republican is because I always criticize Republicans for that shit. Republicans do not check these right-wing weirdos. And I get it, people like Charlie Kirk, people like Nick Fuentes, they may be able to galvanize the base.
Oh, I hate that guy.
A lot of people do. Remember last year when somebody went to his house, wanted to kill him?
He maced that old chick, that old lady.
But the problem with Republicans is they don't check these people.
Nope.
So every fucking election that they lose, because they don't say it when they win, but when they lose elections, then they say, oh, gee golly, why don't black people vote Republican? Because of people like Charlie Kirk and Nick Fuentes and Ben Shapiro and those types.
Because
that's why they don't.
Well, truth be told, Nick Fuentes, they don't claim his ass.
Mm-mm.
They really,
I know. You mean we know that?
They win more due to Charlie Kirk's than they lose, so they're not going to check. If Kirk was a big help for Trump in the presidential election, particularly amongst younger white men. So
I told you they don't complain when they win. They only complain when they lose. They never complain when they win. And honestly, Trump has saved the Republican Party, at least for the last 12 years.
Yeah. Because
it's really been fucking Trump. As many Republicans didn't like him in the beginning, you've had the White House because of him.
Yeah. The Democrats aren't helping their cause.
No. I mean, you got to look at it. This is the time in American history where all the political parties are flipped on its fucking head and they're all puking in the same bucket. It's funny that, Sam said, can one respect someone's life while criticizing descendants of ideology? You're supposed to respect all life until that life becomes dangerous, then that life becomes forfeited. Meaning, for example, exigent circumstances. When I'm walking, doing armed security or doing my police work, I respect all life unless that person or persons try to take or harm another life, then I may be called upon to take a life to save a life. That's the only time. This is what you got to look at. A lot of people get into their fifis about shit. I could say his wife deserved her husband home and and his children deserve their father. My condolences to the family. That's it. That's all. Charlie Kirk is not something I lose sleep about. But to celebrate death tells me something about people. The only death that I celebrated was Osama bin Laden.
You know what wound up happening with all of these people who made these TikTok videos celebrating Charlie Kirk's death?
Made themselves targets.
They wound up getting doxxed. You know that channel that Twitter account lives a TikTok?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, him and that Ian Chang person or whatnot, they started posting these people's TikToks with their names on them. I went and look for them. They were gone. Those people deleted their channels. Like, no. If you're going to make a full-blown a-hole out of yourself, then you should be able to deal with the backlash.
Yeah.
Like, because what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right?
Yeah.
But my whole thing is, as I said earlier at the start of the broadcast, there are people out here who are very upset about what happened, and they want their pound of flesh. They're saying, okay, if this is how y'all want to play, then let's play. This is what really bothers me with black people in the Democratic Party and doing these things. It's like, dude, first and foremost, stop being their slaves. It's over. Secondly, stay out of that. It's not your business, because when you make it your business, then you paint a target on your back. They go, oh, okay, well, you too. Like, matter of fact, extra you. Like somebody said, they're going to come for us first because they see us as their quote unquote militant wing, because they always putting us, white, lesbian, man-hating feminists, which leads the Democratic Party, although they only voted 43% for Kamala, the lowest female demographic. Matter of fact, the lowest demographic that voted for her. Well, lowest female demographic, let me be clear. You always put us out front. Our mothers, grandmothers, daughters, sisters, aunties, cousins always listen to what these lesbian feminists have to say. They follow their lead, and then us, because we've been so browbeaten and cucked by our mamas and aunties and sisters and girlfriends and wives, we follow right in behind them because, you know, a lot of us cannot think past our small head. We out there with a protest sign looking stupid, fighting for illegals and fighting for trans and pedophiles in schools, and you know, yeah, we're pretty much the foot soldiers. I say that loosely and generally.
Well, I mean, not because I'm, you know, I might be in a different position with the Kirk.
Man, if you don't talk your shit.
Yeah, we're all up
well,
there.
I saw a guy regularly saying a lot of negative things about black people. I saw a guy basically dishonor Dr. King's memory. And this is a young guy, you know. This is a guy who wasn't even around long enough to really know shit. He was just kind of running his mouth. He got a lot of attention, which is very often what happens when you run your mouth about black people. And if you're photogenic enough, and if you're whatever enough, you know, you get a lot of attention, you get a lot of money, a lot of esteem, and a lot of, in my view, unearned status. And this is the same guy who said, hey, you know, it might be worth a few people getting killed to keep our Second Amendment. So I just kind of see it as being kind of, you know, kind of karmic.
Well, I mean, I put it to you like this. We could be like Europe, which we were under the Biden administration, where we had people that they let in south of the border just struggle snuggle our wives and daughters.
Okay, but I'm just focusing on
mothers.
This
I'm explaining to you why he said that. Sometimes you have to break. If you're gonna make an omelet, sometimes you have to break a few eggs. If that's the price you have to pay, then it's the price you have to pay. But I would rather,
and apparently he paid
I
that
would
price.
rather go through what we're going through than be like Europe is right now, because you know they're under Sharia law because they don't have guns. Are you familiar with that?
Well, I mean, I'm not familiar with it. I don't really care about Europe. And again, I'm not making an argument against the existence of the Second Amendment. I'm noting the irony that his own words, his life course appeared to go in the direction of his own words.
Well, Charlie knew that he knew his life was on the line. He knew his life was on his line. He started doing these little tent talks or whatnot last year. Matter of fact, 2 years ago. That's how he built up his platform. He knew his life was always in danger. It was the risk that he took.
Well, you know, I look, you know, Dr. King had a family, Malcolm X had a family, Medgar Evers was killed in his driveway. So, and while his kids watched him get out of his car. So, a braver, greater men than Charlie Kirk have been murdered prematurely.
And you're right about all of that. That's why I have the stance that rarely am I on the fence about shit, but I'll be on the fence on this one. Because like I said, Charlie Kirk, he wasn't even a fucking policymaker. He was just some dude talking, which is what anybody can do nowadays.
My stepmother had sheriff's deputies jump out of the bushes on her coming home from the store when we had the store. They jumped out of the bushes on her in the dark. I think the only thing that kept that from being an ugly situation was that she used to work in the sheriff's office and they knew her. Well, yeah, because she recognized them. We've had an FBI agent, matter of fact, 2 FBI agents calling them, actually, no, 3, calling themselves trying to, quote unquote, join our organization. Back when we had the store, when we had Culture Communication.
Hold on. What do I think he got hit with? I think he definitely got hit with a rifle. What caliber? I don't know.
Hold on, Charles, so I lose my train of thought. My thing is that there's anybody on this panel that knows what it's like to be in that Charlie Kirk type position, it's me. Where motherfuckers try to ambush you. They mean you harm, like true harm. And you just out here just talking. I'm trying to help liberate Black people. We're the library. And to have somebody try to do harm to you just because you're talking, you're trying to help your people, your life is in danger. Do any of you have that experience? Bueller?
Yes, I do.
No, I don't.
No, I mean, I don't know what experience you had, so I can't really compare what I don't know.
It's very, very scary. And it makes you very, very paranoid. Eventually, you calm down, your nerves get back to where they should be. But that doesn't mean you learn to keep your head on a swivel. You learn to be more alert than what you would be in normal everyday life. This is why I tell my folks, tool up, stock stuff, learn to shoot. Get your gas, get your propane, get a generator. Pay attention not just to the news that you grew up with all your life. Reach out. see things for how they truly are. We as Black people are in a dire situation. We ain't got time for all of this celebrating a motherfucker's death, especially when it will affect us. You know, as much as Black folks love to say that the Republican Party are racist, even though they lay up in bed with the descendants of slave masters and overseers' children, politically, who the ones got the guns? Who got the guns? I'm asking the question. Who got the fucking guns in this country?
The white people.
Which white people?
Yeah, but you know,
which no, I'm asking the direct question.
Our lives are in God's hand. I mean, the reality is this: they have infinitely more guns, and there's 4, 5, or 6 times as many of them as us. There is no survival scenario in any sort of war thing for us. Bottom line. So any sort of salvation for us will extend beyond any sort of tactical maneuvering we might do with some guns. It might give us a week or a month of life, frankly. So I mean, this whole notion and speculating on some sort of strategy of survival in any sort of civil war scenario it is rather laughable.
Is it?
Certainly.
Like I told the guy in my meeting today when we was talking about this whole Charlie Kirk thing and this subject came up about guns and shit. I told him the same thing. The day is gonna come when you're gonna be happy as hell you had that AR. Even if you don't feel the need for one, go ahead and grab that shit. Because like you said, everybody else is doing it.
I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and never have
it. Need it and not have it.
You a damn fool. I will say this to anybody. I don't give a damn who disagrees with me. If you believe that other people's convictions and their kindness is considerate upon your safety, then you a goddamn fool.
When you say white people got all the guns, that means you should go get some your fucking self. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know how many years, Bay, now has it been since I told people to arm themselves?
I've known you for 8 years.
Exactly. And each time we on the thing, something comes up where I say that statement. Guess what? I don't give a damn what happened today, except my condolences to his family. Because that's the only thing I can say. A man should be able to, regardless if I agree with the motherfucker or not, should be able to go back to his family unless he caused physical harm to someone else. But Black America puts too much faith in God's hands when God's handing you the goddamn salvation. God put keys in your goddamn hand and you're praying to God to open up the gates.
God, save me from drowning. I sent you a boat,
a
helicopter.
The helicopter rolled past. That ain't God.
I sent you a boat.
A shit. That ain't God. You
plane. And you still drown. How much help did you need from me?
You literally want him to come. I'm sorry. What freed Black people from slavery, when the will of God came in the form of a bullet. And see, when Black people actually think about this shit, I'm sorry. I believe in this one solemn promise. I'd rather be tried by 12 than carried by 6. It may not save my life, but it damn sure gives me a fighting chance. And this is the one thing about Black folks historically. We leave too much shit to chance.
You know what? I'm going to answer the question, because when I said which white people has all the guns, or the majority of the guns, it's the Republicans that have the majority of the guns because they're the ones that believe wholeheartedly in the Constitution. They're the ones that wholeheartedly believe in the Second Amendment. They're the ones that are normally at the shooting range or out in the country with those little out in the woods with their man-made shooting ranges and everything. They're the ones that's out here hunting and fishing. Today's Democrat / liberal is too busy getting their hair dyed, their nose pierced, and fucking the same sex and trying to convert your children and snuggling up with criminal illegals like that black girl did that was selling the cooch and wound up dead
by the very illegals that Trump want to get rid of, but black people call Trump racist. Don't support him. Don't support him or his immigration policies. But now everybody's mad that the little girl turned up dead.
And she's not the first black girl that they've killed.
Not by a long shot, no. And she won't be the last. I mean, you can lead the horse to the water, but you can't make him drink it. And that's all it boils down to. So again, why you celebrate this man's death? Again, are you armed? Do you have body armor? Do you stock up on ammunition? Do you practice?
Well, you know, black dudes think that they little switches is gonna do something against the National Guard.
Black dudes think their dick is the answer to everything. For a lot of black men, reparations is a white woman.
Oops, don't say that shit now. Oh Lord, I feel a simping going on.
You take her to the bank. Yes, I'd like to deposit this.
I'm sorry.
You need to trade this in for gold.
Real shit.
I'm sorry. You know,
I mean, we laugh at it, but I mean, that's how ridiculous it is on the black side of things. It's just nobody takes anything fucking serious.
I mean, people look at this shit. You want to celebrate this shit, and sometimes some of us who know who to know, and we like, they could use this motherfucker's death to start some shit. A lot of y'all probably didn't even know in Colorado, you know, they had another active shooter in this high school, right?
Oh yeah, they love shooting out Colorado.
They had an active shooter today where 4 motherfuckers, including the fucking suspect, are shot. Remember, some of your kids go to high school. Mine does. What happens if an active shooter goes to your kid's school? How many times can you go through a mall and there's an active shooting?
Right.
Are you a victim?
Dude, I go nowhere without Jenny.
Hey, anybody can go to the mall.
I'm sorry. I'll tell you what my everyday carry is for anybody in the know. I'm carrying about 2 to 3 magazines, not including the magazine that's in the pistol. I'm carrying probably 1 to 2 knives because the pistol protects me, the knife protects the pistol. I think a lot of you should have a book bag or at least have a tourniquet on you. Know where the exits, the emergency exits are.
Always.
And I think a lot of people really need to this is what you need to do. Here's another military / cop tidbit. Get the fuck out of your phone.
Pay attention to your surroundings.
Situational awareness is better than any bulletproof vest, any AR-15, any goddamn new. If it looks fucked up and you see people arguing, go the other way.
Fuck out of here, right?
Go the fucking other way.
say that?
I'll put it
Yep.
past them.
A lot of you motherfuckers, you know, you can go on Amazon right now and get you a little med kit, a little book bag, and get some medical equipment. Go to the Red Cross or somewhere, the colleges, learn some fucking first aid. Do you know one time I had a lady working security at Apple, 80 years old, passed out, caught her before she fell off the chute. This is a place where you have people with master's degrees with computer science didn't know what to do. You literally have to order people. You call 911. You go in her purse, see if she has the next of kin. You go get the defibrillator just in case we need it. You go get the first aid kit.
That's what they teach you to.
And I'm like, a lot of people cry about, well, that black woman don't love me. Fuck all that shit. Ain't no black community if none of you survive.
You don't love you. I'm speaking in general. You don't love you.
Exactly. Because here's the fucking part about it that people don't understand. This is the shame about most Americans never being in the military. Only 0.5% of American citizens actually defended it at one time or another. Let's say this. Well, no. The way he was hit, because I have the actual video of where he was hit. It's very gruesome. We will not play it on YouTube. I'm not trying to get my channel dropped. Nothing can save him. But we're talking about other injuries. The way he was hit and how much the amount of blood that went out and where he was hit, he was gone. He was gone. He probably was alive 30 seconds after that, if that. I mean, he was hit directly in the neck. His carotid and his jugular, he was done. He basically drowned on his own blood. I've seen that wound before. There's nothing you could do. But at the same time, it does not mean you stand around being a victim. Think about this. The minute you have these debates, you're supposed to go to higher institutions of learning and debate. You should always have your beliefs challenged. It makes you a sharper person. But because we live in this feminist fucking society, my feelings, where you're soft as Toll House fucking cookies, and I've said this before, have you noticed liberal America, everything they said about Trump they're doing? Trump's gonna start a war. You ain't say shit about Biden and Harris. They started 2 of them. Trump's gonna make it more dangerous. Trump for
well, Charles, if you think about it, they tried to kill Trump. They tried to kill Nick Fuentes. It looks like the left are the ones that's dangerous.
Yes, that's the problem. Yes.
Have you noticed? You could go to.
It looked like it's the fucking left wing motherfuckers that ain't playing games.
Exactly.
That's why this situation right here is not so much about, oh my God, they killed Charlie Kirk. It's like, oh shit, they killed Charlie Kirk right behind this white girl getting stabbed, you know what I'm saying? By a typical. And now Charlie Kirk? What? I mean, how much more do you think the conservative party is going to put up with before they say, okay, that's it. You want a war? You got Maxine Waters trying to talk about civil war. You got all types of Democrats, especially Jasmine Crockett, threatening violence. We'll smack them in the head, and I need their ass kicked, and all of this shit, all this divisive rhetoric. Every day, these motherfuckers calling Trump or somebody on the right Hitler or Nazi. They attacking ICE agents. At some point, they gonna give you what you've been begging for, and then you gonna cry like a little bitch when they start knocking your motherfucking head between the washer and the dryer. And my point is, I don't want to fucking hear it, and I'm not on your side.
I'm gonna tell you what. You know what got Baltimore's crime down from 300 or something into the next year to like 170, 180? Because we consistently put boot to ass. There were times when motherfuckers said, fuck the police. I took my fucking badge off and placed it on the ground, and I said, what's up? It's for you. The first, we could go 4 all together, or we could go 1-on-1. First motherfucker whooped my ass, keeps my badge. You know what they did? They walked around that bitch like it had the bubonic plague. Well, what? I'm not supposed to? No. There's a reason why we call it law and order. When your children get out of line, you whoop their ass. See, this is the thing about it. I can only talk to you so much till I feel disrespected, right?
Yeah.
How many times am I supposed to talk to you when you're, 1, being disrespectful, or 2, being dangerous?
It comes to a point where either I walk away or I'm shaking my hand while you down on the ground trying to figure out how many teeth I just knocked out.
Because
it comes down to that.
Because I tell you, and ABM will tell you, he's from Baltimore as well. You see me coming down York Road with that S-Bantoon, and I'm spinning that shit like Mighty Thor coming down the way, and I'm holding that bitch like I'm like Black Uru's avatar. That's Coco Bola wood. If you ever felt Coco Bola, whoo, that strikes you, boy. See, I don't mind tough policing when it's directed to the people that deserve the tough policing. See, we didn't bother mom and dad going to work picking up kids. We fuck with the drug dealers morning, noon, and night. You know, the one thing I love was when a motherfucker made me promise them something. Man, fuck you. No, I'm gonna fuck you. Because I'm going to come up there 3 o'clock in the morning with a fucking warrant for your ass. And I dare you to resist. Because you're either going to go in handcuffs or you're going to go out your bedroom window. Either way, I'm satisfied with either one.
He took out a little stick of gum and started chewing it.
The last motherfucker that punched me on duty. You ever saw somebody get Undertaker choked in real life?
Shall we answer CRU's question?
What's the question?
He said, somehow with this white on white crime in Utah, black people are mentioned. Why? Like, because we're the Democratic footstool / soldiers. They tried to replace us with the Hispanics, and it's not working.
Here's the part about this. Black people really need to learn this, and it goes back to what Black Uber was saying. There's a couple of times when black people just need to bow out gracefully and say, that's y'all problem. Right, Uber?
I mean, my view is just kind of stay out of it. These are white people issues,
Yeah.
So old white man apparently shot him. So yeah, just let them work through it. I mean, look, Kirk said some. Kirk was not a friend of black men in particular. You know, he just wasn't. And so I definitely understand the raw feelings that people had about him. But I do think, you know, I wouldn't necessarily make a point of bringing attention to, you know, myself about, you know, what happened to him. I'm just like, okay, well, it's, you know, just a dead racist white guy. You know, we'll talk about something else on Thursday. But I'm not empathetic to him. And unlike you, I don't even really care anything about his family.
No,
you know, because like, you know, villains have wives and children too. So I'm indifferent to, you know, I mean, it's like I said, better men than him are killed every day, and most of them leave wives and children. So,
exactly. Do I feel bad for the children and wives? To a certain extent, being a father. Yeah, I can feel that. I can feel the empathy there. Do I
mean, if, to the extent that they were there and saw it, then that's pretty.
That's pretty gruesome. Horrible, that's pretty gruesome. Yeah. And it's like this. I would not wish that for people, but you know, better men have lost their lives that we don't even speak of. And it's funny because this is a mind your business black people moment.
Yeah.
This lets you know right now. Oh, right now, Glock 6 Sauer. Well, certain guns don't buy 6 Sauer. That motherfucker shoot when you put it in your goddamn holster. I forget which one has got the recall. You know, black people should have 3 guns: a pistol, AR-15, and a shotgun. Different reasons, different jobs, but you should have all 3.
Yeah.
I need
definitely had a shotgun in your home.
I need a shotgun then.
Because
I'm really thinking about going to the gun store. I was thinking about going for my birthday. I was thinking about getting actually I was gonna get another handgun, but I think I'll go ahead. I'll get the shotgun. All right.
I've told people, I said a shotgun. This is why a shotgun is beautiful. 8 double-aught buck. I have a variety of ammo when it comes to shotgun. I can literally put a double-aught buck in the chamber, in the magazine tube, shoot 8mm pellets. Imagine 8 people shooting you all at once with a 9mm bullet. That's basically what it is. So if I'm dealing with a crowd situation, or let's say multiple suspects in a large room in my house, boom, bigger chance of hitting you all. And behind that, I could come with a slug, an ounce of lead coming 2,500 feet per second that could take down mid-sized game in Africa. In case I need some firepower. AR-15, I'm like those old telephone commercials in the 80s and 90s to reach out and touch a motherfucker if necessary. Plus, I have 30 of my best friends who have no fear and full of not giving a fuck.
You know how much I paid for that scope?
Huh?
You know how much I paid for that scope?
How much?
120.
I don't want to
Guess where I got it.
I don't know. I don't want to tell you how much I paid for my scopes. Good God.
Guess where I got it.
If I put my scope on you, wherever I put the scope, I'm gonna hit.
I got it on Amazon.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Amazon got a lot of beautiful scopes.
Oh yeah, they sell so many parts.
You know, one of the number one tools people never realize they need. It's called a goddamn flashlight. Get 2.
Very true.
Get one that you could charge, and get a goddamn mag light with some fucking C or D batteries. You know why? Because that metallic mag light becomes a very, very beautiful tool. Bing, ding, ding.
You didn't see that? You didn't see it on the scope? I got the light and the pointer.
Shoot, I call my rifle Jesus Christ. I got the truth, the light, and the way. Everybody can go see the Father.
All right. So yeah, good night, Black Hero. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We talking about guns, and now I'm getting all excited.
Would have not helped. I mean, we're not here to just talk about Charlie Kirk, because we're here to talk about the ramifications. Here's the problem: we're not going to allow this to turn into a race riot, because once again, it's not our fucking fault. It's not our fault. Like, I'm sorry. If you're dealing with a woman, for all you, this is my last tip, so I can think of another. Don't deal with a woman who does not believe in carrying a weapon. I don't care how badass you think you are. You better have a gun close, walk into your car, check it. And you better have some type of knife nearby just in case.
And you better keep it locked. You better keep that trigger lock on with you having the key on your person or hidden at all times, because, you know, fuck around there and say something about her cooking.
This tastes like shit. Bow, bow, bow. I'm sorry. But a woman who does not carry is a liability. I'm going to say it again. A woman who does not carry and protect herself is a liability. If we have kids, let's say you date a woman with kids, y'all have kids together, because most of us have kids. Most of us are Brady Bunching anyway, right? You go check downstairs. What's her job? To arm up and get her and the kids the fuck out of there. Protect my fucking legacy. But no, if you really, and I'm gonna say this because I know, if y'all really need to look at your friends and ask these important questions. What you think, babe? What do you think about firearms safety, firearms training, CPR, first aid? If these people still going around their daily life not prepared for the next active shooter,
They're sheep.
They're sheep of shit.
Who's that in the background that's always responding to you?
Say hi, Keisha.
Hey, y'all.
Okay. I was like, why do I keep hearing somebody fan clubbing him?
It's called Hire Your Own Fan Club app.
So guys, we got you a real Keisha.
Hire Your Own Fan Club app.
No, I'm sorry. What was the question? I remember. Okay. Yeah, because when I was in Ohio, because I moved back down to Atlanta in 19. But when I was in Ohio, like in the early to like 2010 and whatnot, all you saw was billboards and radio ads telling women to get their CCWs. That's when you start seeing the guns, the little 9mm and the 25s and the 22s and all these little pink colors and all that stuff. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, all these little vibrant female attractive colors. Yeah, I mean, that was like a big thing.
I don't like mine's black. I like black.
You didn't hear that. He likes hers black.
You gave me the big black genocide.
She likes her black, like her. Jesus.
Oh my God. Anyway, no, but yeah, it was a big push in Ohio back then. I don't know how it was nationally, but in Columbus, it was a big push for women to get they CCWs and whatnot. And they were selling guns to them, like, just like how they do with women's shoes. Women's shoes are cheap. They walk into a shoe store with $100 and walk out with 20 pair.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm one of those guys who said, you should have a gun for situations. Should you have a truck gun? Most likely, yes. I think you should. It's a lot of people. I know BGS says, for all those people who think I'm some BGS drone. There's sometimes me and BGS disagree. And I said, I'm sorry. We've gotten to the point right now where even in urban environments, especially in urban environments, the police are reactive. You're talking to a guy who's done it for almost 2 decades. We got to know you're in trouble first. Then we got to get there. Safety is not just the state's responsibility. It's really yours. How many of us go driving and get lost? You feel a little bit different when you got Glock on your side. Hey, what you doing on my property?
You still get lost with Waze running around here?
Huh?
Yeah, huh?
No, I ain't hear what you said.
I said you still get lost with Waze running around here?
Oh, no. Shit, I'm just saying for some people who don't. I really don't like the violence, crew. I really don't. It's
I'll be ready though.
I really don't like the violence because you got to remember is that the people who don't want more the most are the people who've been there. It's not glorified in the movies. It's not cute. That's shit that you got to live with. And it's like, imagine a woman going through a possible or near sexual assault. It's the same shit. You got to live with that shit. Your brain is going to think different. Your body's going to react different. So a lot of these people who, when they were talking about the other day when we had the guy talking about the switches and shit, fighting the National Guard, go ahead and try that shit and see what happens.
I would laugh, like with the Punisher comics, how they would, make them OP, but I mean, as he quote unquote explained it, like these are just thugs with guns. Like I'm military trained. I'm a Vietnam vet.
Yeah.
I was killing gooks when these guys were, still sucking on their mama's teeth.
Yeah, it's like you got to think about it. A lot of those National Guardsmen and women are very hardened. Oh man, put the link down. We got the Admiral Smoke, aka Captain Jack. I know this motherfucker got a thing or two to say. Put the link for the whatchamacallit down. Let me see. I could copy it for my joint.
I think I have it. Well, you need the link for to come up?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think I got it. Here we go.
All right, here it is.
I mean, any vet will tell you, look, there's shit that we got to go through when it comes to combat. It's not cute. But you should have some ways to protect yourself. I don't give a fuck if you got a stiletto or a brass knuckle. It's something.
I'm not even trying to get that close.
Exactly. Hell, you shouldn't want to get that close, but in case the fight does get close, I want to have every advantage on my side. Hey, Sad Dog, that's the link to come up. So come on up.
You know, I have a confession.
Oh Lord, Father, may I? Yes, you may.
I moved down here from Ohio to get away from white folks because I was like in Columbus, and of course the only black side of Columbus is the ghetto, and I mean the ghetto, and I was not doing that, and it was sucking the life out of me. But when I moved back down here to Atlanta, everything wound up coming up roses, but the attitude of the people completely changed because there was no conscious community anymore. Oh, he left? Okay. There was no conscious community anymore. It's now just YNs and Negroes and pro-blacks.
Exactly.
And it's not, there you go. Okay. Oop, I'm sorry. There you go. And it's not safe. It's just not safe.
It's not. Even in Baltimore, the YN population, it's like an infestation of violence. I mean, Baltimore is getting better, but it's still. When the video you tagged me in, a 5-year-old girl got shot in her fucking hand. Say what you want about white people, but a fucking lynch mob committee would have been formed up to find the motherfucker who did it. We are so cowardly to settle our own issues.
Wait, you mean when Brandon Scott and Westmore, when they were walking through Baltimore, they wasn't trying to find the shooter?
No.
Then what were they doing? They weren't just walking the streets of Baltimore with 150 cops surrounding them for a photo op, were they?
Of course. All the police protection they had, they probably could have found the motherfucker. Here's the problem. When Westmore said, they don't know how to keep you safe, I know how to keep you safe. That's a goddamn lie. Tell that to a guy who's been there, done that.
So we get to move in Westmore's house in the guest room, and he gonna tuck all 386,000 Baltimoreans in at night with some warm milk and some cookies and read us bedtime stories? Is that what he gonna do?
With some bunny fucking slippers.
He gonna have Umar put us in tuxedos and cuddle up with us?
Oh yeah, he gonna bring Umar Johnson to to do tonight's masters of ceremonies. We all gonna fit in the mayor's and the governor's mansion.
How you doing, Dark and Abusive?
Yo, what's going on, y'all?
What's up? Hey, Captain Jack. Meet me down by the railroad track.
Yeah. Yo, the thing is that, so this is a failure. So I'm going to talk through a couple of concepts, right? The first concept is what Nietzsche coined as the master morality and the slave morality, right? So unfortunately, we possess a slave morality, which I'm going to simplify as the world of what you believe should be, what should happen, right? And the master morality is saying that I will control what should happen, and we're thinking that, quote and unquote, Jesus, nature, or whatever else is out there, the universe will influence the should instead of you. The price of freedom is vigilance, right? That's the cost of freedom. And so, especially post-civil rights era, many of us have voted and supported things that would take away our sovereignty, that would take away our autonomy, right? One of those things being the Second Amendment, right? Because at the end of the day, you want to be able to control the environment in which you live. And since there wasn't a focus on controlling the environment in which you live, you are now subject to not only police brutality, not only an occupation because you can't control your cities, but you're also subject to gentrification. So when you look at the war on drugs that happened in the 90s, right? Unfortunately, we didn't learn from that. Why? Because at the end of the day, Biden's crime bill came from the result of that we didn't have the power to control our local economies and our own people. And so when you go to somebody else to solve your problems, how they're going to solve your problems is totally up to them, because you don't have the power to influence it. And so for me, I believe that there has been a series of strategic mistakes through the civil rights era and also post-civil rights era, especially after the war on drugs, where we did not learn these lessons, right? That you want to own and control where you live. So now you're subject to gentrification, you're subject to high crime, and now you're also subject to occupation, because again, where you are, these places are, out of control. And, sad and most unfortunately, like, when you guys are talking about war for these young kids, one of the reasons why the U.S. military is so powerful is because it has the world's greatest logistics apparatus, right? And so we don't manufacture anything. We don't have any relationships with any foreign powers, nothing of the sort. You don't control any ports, none of it, right? And so you in the military and small arms fire, you're not going to get far, right? Especially, and so these are active guard troops. So they train not active guard, sorry, National Guard troops, right? So what do they train, Charles? They train like annually, right? So they train every month. I think reservists go every month, and National Guard will have a, like I said, an annual training. And so guys on the street wouldn't know much about the fundamentals of infantry tactics. So in my day, right, that book was something called a Field Manual 7-8, right? So they wouldn't know much about infantry tactics. They wouldn't know much about a mission table of organization and of equipment, which is how a unit is organized, what a unit is staffed with, and the equipment and the materials that they have. So to even be able to plan on how to deal with the military, they're just kind of out there as a ragtag, group of guys. But again, for us as a collective, sad and most unfortunately, the focus was not to own and control where you live. And so since we were not vigilant, right, since we ended up living in the world of what should be, right?
Hello?
Said
Bueller?
we are now.
Bueller?
Hello? Said,
Oh, well.
so since we
there
are,
you go. You was cooking, then you dropped off.
Okay, where did I lose you?
You were talking about the field manual, and then all of a sudden you went quiet.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, the field manual is FM 7-8, right? And so again, when you're going into a war, operations order has 5 paragraphs. The first one being situation, and in the situation paragraph, you'll get what's called the mission table of organization and equipment, and that's all the stuff that you have, and that's all the stuff that the enemy has. And again, any competent planner will look at that and match capabilities and start to build a plan around it, right? And so these guys are not necessarily formally trained to function that way. They're just kind of just out there, loose and ragtag. But sad and most unfortunately for us, right, our focus was not about owning and controlling our community, and we supported a lot of things that would take away a community sovereignty, such as concessions with the Second Amendment, right? So we will vote for a lot of these things, and that's what will weaken our power and our ability partially to own and control our environments, right? And so now you are subject to police brutality. You can't control your youth, right? Because you don't have the economic power to do it, to provide them opportunity, and nor can you control them by force. And now many of us are now losing our neighborhoods to gentrification, right? So the beauty of it is all that dysfunction has driven down the value of property, and so you have people now who have money who are coming in and buying, you know, your community, your space, your culture right from under you. And that all comes from the concept of not being vigilant, right? Living in the world of should, right? And so sad and most unfortunately, we become a group of people that have allowed life to happen to us instead of controlling life. So a slave will let life happen to him, where, you know, the master is looking to control outcomes. I remember hearing Roland Martin talk in 2016 when Trump had Black America, well, what do you have to lose? And Roland Martin came back and said, well, what's his plan for Black folk? And I was like, what is his plan? You should have an agenda, right? You should have an agenda. Why should somebody come and tell you what your needs and wants are as a voting bloc? What do you mean? What's his plan? You know, the thing is that, you know, again, if we vote for him, how much of our agenda that we're going to get? And so when I heard him say that, you know, I walked away with the idea of, wow, man, so we're over in the United States in 2016, letting life happen to you, right? And so when you let life happen to you and you are not vigilant, you end up, you know, you may end up back where you started, or for damn sure circumstances like this, right? And so you would need something where your community is valuable enough to the United States that people know if they piss off your community, there'll be some kind of consequence, right? Some communities, you piss them off, right? Your debit card or credit card is not going to work in the morning, right? You know, again, other communities, again, you piss them off, you might hurt them where it comes to labor in certain areas. But for us, if you piss us off, right, it's just a fucking news cycle, a media cycle, and then we'll be on to something else. So, you know, my message to the panel today is that vigilance is the real price of freedom. And sad and most unfortunately, we have not remained vigilant. And so since you haven't remained vigilant, right, you know, somebody else is now coming in to solve your problems for you, good, bad, or indifferent.
You know, I talked about everything that you just said. I talked about this in the video. I think I still have it, called the Roommate Agreement, where after the Civil Rights Movement, in exchange for integration, we moved into the white man's guest house, in his spare bedroom, in his basement. And we had to follow his rules. Lights off at 9 o'clock, no company. Can't use the pool only on weekends, but you got to be out by 6 o'clock. No, you can't use my jacuzzi. You get what I'm saying? Because we used to have our own.
Yes.
Yeah, we used to have our own, but because we had so many black women. I know people are, you about to slam black women. No, I'm being dead honest here. I mean, this is a hard truth that we need to accept. Black women turned traitor to the one party that was giving us everything that we needed politically in order to get up on our feet and stay balanced. But the Democratic Party was tearing it down. It wasn't Republicans that were burning down Tulsa, Greenwood, Rosewood. What was that? The Central Park town? I forget what it is. The one out in Charlotte, North Carolina, whatever. Yeah, that wasn't Republicans. Those were Democrats. And they gave you welfare. Lyndon B. Johnson had to convince his Democratic people, because welfare was just supposed to be, as far as them opening up to black people, because it always existed. We just chose not to take it. But then they reformed it. And they sent Gloria Steinem in there to capture the hearts and minds of their little black pickaninnies who always wanted that white head pat, because that's how a lot of black people who were supposedly caught up in the civil rights movement, that's what they really wanted. They wanted that head, that pat on the head. That, I mean, let's be honest, 400 years of having that bred into you that they're better than you, and if they smile at you, they must like you. I mean, that never went away. Even today, it hasn't went away. But he convinced his party, hey, you need to open this welfare up because we'll make economic slaves of them. It'll destroy their communities in record time. And sure enough, when that happened, as part of the civil rights movement, what happened? What did we lose almost overnight? What did we lose?
Yeah.
We lost our sovereignty, our businesses, our homes, our towns, our factories, because, you know, the white man's ice is colder. Hello, McFly. Hello. I'm saying that in general. We lost everything. And here we are, what, 70 years later, 3.5 generations later. And, you know, like you said, Roland Martin asked Trump, what is you going to do for us? And, you know, Ice Cube had the plan. Matter of fact, Trump was the only one that wanted to listen to the plan for Black America. Correct. But he racist, though, you know, but that's what people say because, you know, CNN told him that. But, you know, where the Democrats didn't want to hear it and Black women didn't want to hear it. They wanted their own stuff. That's how you get an Angela Rye. That's how you get a Charlemagne. That's how you get a Roland Martin. These, you know, and a Joy Reid and, you know, and Amanda Seals. These people are slaves. They sit up here and whine and cry about racism all day, every day, 25/8. But in all honesty, trust me, they want that white daddy mammy.
Yeah, but it's not even that though, right? So remember, Black America has two identities, right? And so we've had people that had that focus, right? And so, like I said, when you get to Booker T. Washington said that there are those amongst us in our population who are not necessarily interested in fixing the race problem, right? That they understand. Matter of fact, hold up, I'll read it for you direct because I got it ready. Right, so
they
I'll
want
read
that
it for you.
a more passionate slave master.
Yeah, so
people just want to suffer less.
Yeah, that's what he said. So Booker T. Washington said there is a certain class of race problem solvers who don't want the patient to get well because as long as the disease holds out, they have not only an easy means of making a living, but also an easy medium through which to make themselves prominent before the public.
Paging right? Dr. Umar. Paging yes. Dr. Umar.
And so these are the things that we forgot because, like, so for me, I'm a product of a place called Alabama Agricultural Mechanical University, right? It was started in 1875 by a former slave who taught himself how to read by the name of William Hooper Council. And Ta-Nehisi Coates called the founder of my university, called him a sellout, right? And, you know, he had his run-ins with white America at the time and changed his tactics because William Hooper Council, thank God, was focused, him and Booker T. Washington, they were more focused on tangible outcomes than ideological battles, right? And so when you look at Ta-Nehisi Coates has written some books. William Hooper Council, Alabama A&M this year will celebrate 150 years of existence. And so William Hooper Council has been making Black professionals of all flavors for the last 150 years. So he took a young man from the projects of Brooklyn, turned him into a community leader, turned him into an Army officer, turned him into an international businessman, right? And so at the end of the day, what has Ta-Nehisi Coates done for me in comparison to William Hooper Council?
He wrote you some books.
Yeah, he wrote me some, exactly. And he, like I said, and he wrote you some books, and that's the thing. And so, again, another quote from Booker T. Washington, right? No race can prosper till it learns that there is as much dignity in tilling a field as is in writing a poem. Right? So let me fast forward you to my fraternity brother, Carter G. Woodson, who said what? If your education is not tied to your culture, it is of no value to you. So let's say Charles Faulkner is my dad, and Charles Faulkner, my dad, has a hot dog stand, right? So in other cultures, right, the children will get a business education, and then they'll come back and use their education on business and logistics, right, to expand dad's business. For us, we will get our education and then we'll go off and be professionals in other places, right? And so, let's say, we went off and we worked somewhere else and became professionals in other places. But the Jewish kids who did the same thing went off and came back to dad. They're now Oscar Mayer, right?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. So like I was just saying. So like I said, so they are now Oscar Mayer, right? And so many people have had the debate between Booker T. Washington and Du Bois and others, but the thing about it is that it's an order of operations, right? Because post-slavery, Black people would have to first learn how to be human first. So this whole concept, remember, you just spent the last few hundred years as chattel, right? So you have to first learn how to be human, and then from human to becoming a citizen, and then from becoming a citizen, going off and on into, like I said, into other things, right? And so, in our process or in our development, just from my particular perspective, there are certain steps that we skipped. And because we skipped those steps is partially why we have the problems that we have now. Think about what you just said about welfare, right? And because I would have loved to have a conversation with Charles Kirk, again, God have mercy on those who have passed away, right? So I would have loved to have a conversation with them because, again, how many days does it take to make a habit, right? About a month. So in 1662, you passed what's called Paternus Sequitur Venitrum, right? It's Latin for what follows the womb. And so in 1662, you determined that whatever a Black woman gave birth to will be a slave in perpetuity, right? So you've made that determination. So now, if my math is correct, from 1662 to 1865, it's about 200 years, 203 years, right? So now, if it takes 30 days to make a habit, and that's been my culture for the last 203 years, where a slave master went to my great-great-great-grandmother and said, hey, if you have 8 kids from me, I'll set you free, right? So now, remember, what follows the womb. So that means that when a Black child is born within the United States for 203 years, it never belonged to the father. It never belonged to the community. It never belonged to the family. It belonged to you. It belonged to the wealthy. It belonged to the state. So as soon as that child was born, it didn't belong to the parents. Now, fast forward to the Black people that you complain about today. You don't think that there's no correlation between those things?
Oh, 100% correlation.
You know what I'm saying? So that the dysfunction that we suffer from, like I said, a lot of people will say, well, I'm tired of hearing about slavery, but that dysfunction is now my culture, right? So when you bring in somebody from Senegal or Yoruba, Nigeria or whatever, right? They haven't had that experience. That dysfunction is now my culture, right? And sad and most unfortunately for you, my culture is the most influential culture in the United States, if not one in the world, to include the fact that children out of wedlock is a post-industrial problem because, again, Black people weren't the ones that produced the birth control pill that would influence the sexual revolution, which saying that you could separate childbirth from sex, right? Which is now not only that, but you're separating the act of sex from marriage, right? Which is a task that you're doing. So like I said, so again, let's have these real and these intelligent conversations, right? And let's talk real history instead of a narrative, right? So at the end of the day, can I be frustrated with things that we did or did not do? But two things could be true at once, right? You can be a victim who has made a series of bad choices, right? Two things.
Generational curses, we call them.
Yeah. So these things can be true at once. And so again, so if Charles Kirk and I could have that conversation, it's like, okay, so you got to remember, so now slavery ends, and now slavery is over, and then you have black people still trying to come out the pit in Jim Crow, and then America invests another 100 years of keeping those same people in that state, because they're about 80% of your GDP. So you need to find a way to put them back on the fields, because the nation needs money, right? And so you're talking about what, maybe 247 years or so of slavery, and then another 100 years of black codes and Jim Crow. And then directly after that, you get the things called the school to prison pipeline. So now, if little Johnny is in the third grade and he can't read well, and my nation just says, oh, well, he's destined to go to prison. Like, are we living in a country, or are we living in hell? Right?
Quick interjection.
Yes.
Based on what you're, the school to prison pipeline, not only that, but just the dumbing down of America, period. Earlier, I was like, somebody mentioned with Charlie Kirk was talking about I wouldn't want to fly on a plane that was being piloted by a black DEI pilot, female pilot. It was like, well, yeah, because you do understand. I mean, we sit here, we see that these chicks get a lot of underwater basket weaving degrees, and they are pushed ahead in giving titles that they don't deserve or haven't earned because of DEI, because of their race and sex. That black police chief in DC, the guy asked her about the chain of command, and she looked at him, was like, well, what does that mean? And the mayor was like, oh my God, black female mayor who clearly at least studied in school had to step in to stop her from making a fool out of herself, but it was too late. Now picture something like that flying a commercial plane.
Yeah.
But yeah, I digress. Go on.
No, like I said, yeah, I get you, right? And so, but that would be, at the end of the day, that would be the thing, right? And so, but we'd have to be careful, because how are you painting DEI, right? Because so just because it's a white male, does that mean that it's not DEI, right? Does that mean, because remember, DEI covers veterans and other, like I said, and also other demographic, the handicapped, right? And so, like I said, for me, and I really get your point, right? And I'm not disagreeing with you. It's just that my stance on the whole concept of it, right, at the end of the day, is a tad bit nuanced, because where I would push back on Charlie Kirk is what is the duty of a citizen, right? To defend the country, pay taxes, to vote, serve in a jury, right? And so now, Crispus Attucks was the first person to die in this country, right? The majority of African Americans that will come to the United States will come, for the most part, between the 17 and the 1800s, right? So more than likely, I've been here longer than you have, right? And so Crispus Attucks died for America. What did I get? Slavery, right? Again, I'm set free and I start paying taxes and I fight wars for my country. What do I get? Jim Crow. So now, while I'm fighting World War I, I got European immigrants coming into the United States and getting the Homestead Act and getting all kinds of support to get their lives going in the United States, and I get absolutely nothing. I get
hung in my military uniform. Fresh off
I get hung in my businessmen get hung from my military and my business class get hung from trees, again, like I said, demanding their rights. And so at the end of the day, like I said, I've come home from World War I, I've come home from World War II. So now if we want to go, let's do this, right? So if we want to go from 1700 to 1965, right? And even then, right, since Title VII got hijacked by feminists, you tell me, as a heterosexual black man, here's my entire history in the United States. How am I a DEI hire? I'm the definition of bootstraps. I am the bootstraps.
You don't get hired unless, you sloppy toppy in.
Yeah.
As a black man, you don't get hired unless you sloppy toppy.
But this is what I'm getting at, right? And this is what I'm pushing back on, which is the false narratives of history, right? So here are the false narratives of history. Let's look at what European immigrants got from the United States between the late 1800s and that. And then even then, you have Reconstruction. Reconstruction is a halfway cooked remedy, because what happens? My beloved party, the Republican Party, in 1877, you have the compromise with the Democratic Party because you want the presidency, right? And so you decide to remove the troops from the South, and voila, all hell breaks loose. So like I said, let's go, and let's do this. Let's go from Crispus Attucks and the Revolutionary War all till now, and you prove to me that I'm DEI when I know my own damn history and that I am the definition of bootstraps.
You know what? This is why. No, trust me. I feel, and this what ties into what Trump did. Because on my channel, I watch the press conferences that the man has, and that his press secretary, the interviews. I want to hear everything that they say so I can figure out for myself how we should move forward as, not just for myself, but as a people, and people are so stuck. They so stuck on dick and pussy politics and celebrity gossip and whatnot, that they don't find what is coming out of the Oval Office to be important unless it's some hot take that get them all in their fields. But I've said this, I said, I've been saying this for 10 years. I said, the only thing that's going to get us as Black people out of the situation that we're in, the poverty, the crime, the joblessness. I was like, there's going to have to be welfare reform. There's going to have to be welfare reform, i.e., kick everybody off of it, or at least reform it to where you get 2 to 4 years with some type of job training, like maybe some community college type training based on your level of education. And then you get placed after 6 months, internship for 6 months, and they go ahead and hire you because the company gets a tax credit from hiring these people. But after that, don't come back. You're not allowed back. So you're back in the job market with whatever field you want, be it trucking, HVAC, carpentry, engineering, whatever. We'll pay for it. All you got to do is stay off the drugs, be on the straight and narrow, do your 2 to 4 years or 6 months, whatever, and you're good. You got the skills to pay the bills. But that's not what he did. He did the 2-year thing. If you're able-bodied, all right, only if you're disabled, mentally, physically, or elderly, do you get a pass for, SNAP, Section 8, whatever. But he did the 2-year thing because what has been our biggest problem? Our biggest problem has been relations between men and women, correct?
Yeah.
As far as socially, we're not even social as Black men and women together. So
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But because that circumstance that I just mentioned is what has influenced your relationship, right?
Exactly.
So that the circumstance. So that's the break in the link, right? That's what's influenced in the relationship. Because in this given environment, your women and children know that you're not the head honcho in charge.
Exactly.
Right? And so you're not, like I said, you're not in control, right? So so like, for example, like you take a woman from Nigeria. Nigeria has all of its problems, but guess what? A young woman that's born in Nigeria, right? The man who runs the country, the policeman, and everything else all look like her dad, right? So as a result of that, despite them maybe, or some of them, not having the same economic positions that you may have in the United States, right? The cooperation is still there because, again, the men who appear to control that environment look like my father. But for us, that is a completely that is a completely different circumstance. And so that, from my perspective, that was a mistake that we made, where that appetite should have been for autonomy and sovereignty versus, again,
enslavement
versus your different forms of integration. Because again, I don't hate anybody of European descent, which is why I wish me and Charles Kirk could have had a conversation. And the reason being, and America has proven me wrong, right? But I would venture to say that if I was alive, right, as I am now, back then, I would not have wanted to be a part of the United States of America. And the reason being is that it is a tall order to ask a culture that has been programmed to see me as an animal to share a society with me. That, for me, that's too tall of a mountain to climb. So if I could have talked to Frederick Douglass and the other guys, I'm like, bro, what are we doing here, right? In the eyes of these people, me, a mule, and a goat are no different. I don't think. Do you know how steep of a mountain that is to climb to join this particular nation or civilization and then be a part of it as an equal? I think, for me personally, I think you're asking them for too much. You're expecting too much from them.
That's
right?
why.
Because I don't see how somebody can see me as chattel 1 minute, 3/5 of a man the next, and then somehow magically share a society with me. Just off of that premise alone, I think that was too much of an ask.
Yeah, that's why I was. Look, I always pushed for us having our own businesses, our own factories, our own towns, our own neighborhoods, our own police force. Back when Obama was president, they was killing us for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and in between meal snacks. I came up with a plan for us to buy a ghost town, 1.8 million, buy a ghost town, refurbish it, and then build a factory that sell the 5 things that Black people spent their money on the most: alcohol, tennis shoes, beauty products, by women, music, and cigarettes. But that fell through because, as much as the pro-Black YouTube all-stars back then, and y'all know who they were, as much as they ran their little mouths, when I came to them with the plan, only one responded back to me, and he said to me, "Oh, you just want a job." I'm like, nigga, this my shit. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying?
It's hard to work with others and show them a vision when they can't even when they don't even have the concept of dreaming their goddamn selves.
Well, the whole thing that, when I look back on it, like, the problem was the plan wasn't to establish a society where Black people didn't have to worry about white harassment. The plan was to hustle the race. I mean, look at what these guys did with the money that they received. You understand? One bought a house in the hills out in California. The other one was running scam after scam after scam.
Say the names, man.
Okay. One of them was trying to follow in the footsteps of Mr. House in the Hills, except his production quality was garbage, and as business minded as he claimed he was, he really didn't know what the fuck he was doing.
Say the names, babe. Put them out there.
What happened to the other ones? They just disappeared.
Or they went to prison for raping little girls. Say the names, bro.
Y'all know who the hell I'm talking about.
We ain't got it. Listen, bro. Listen, that was your first mistake, talking to these YouTube clowns.
Yeah, but do understand, when Obama was president, everything was, all right, we conscious, we back.
You know what I'm saying? But I was sadly mistaken. That's why sometimes when I get on here, y'all hear me talk with such frustration and anger, because coming from where I was the last time when I first left Atlanta, the state that I left it in, I did not expect us as black people to be in the state we're in now. It's almost like I sold everybody a lie. That's why, Charles, in a sense, I really don't like talking about it, because I feel like I sold people a lie.
Yeah,
Because
it's
I don't
like a
see,
midsummer's nightmare.
yeah, I don't see the fruits of the labor.
It's like, I got to do my confession time. Everybody knows I was a police officer in the Northern District. No secret. You know, one of the most painstaking things it is for a guy who's no longer with the department is when the same department fails to not only keep the citizens safe, but fails to have any common sense solutions. That starts from Brandon Scott on down. In what place does the fucking governor makes less than the mayor? I'll wait. You literally are paying people for made up fucking places $250,000 a year. You literally have children still being shot on the steps. There have been times I've been put on details for a whole month, and I brought the crime down to that one particular area that all the drug units, all the fucking overtime units they had, little old me brought down 75% of their crimes down just walking foot during December with a cigar in my mouth and a Escalation in my head. I would literally walk down the block, get out my car, stay to this fucking area, these 4 blocks, and I would walk. The drug dealers got into a big argument, about 15 of them. They see me walking with the stick, they disperse. I told them, I'm like this, I don't give a fuck who's wrong. I'm going to just start swinging for RBIs, really bad injuries. Respect the community. But you let everything honest working people get go to fucking hell and have the audacity to come from your fucking ivory towers, your proverbial Olympus, look down upon the people and lie to them and say, I know how to keep you safe. You sure know how to spend $5.5 billion in a year. You sure know how to keep black males from getting careers in state jobs. You sure know how to steal valor. Sandog Bay, ABM. Through my military, security, and police career, I met some legitimately brave men and women. Brave men and women. They will never receive the medals, the notoriety, but you got motherfuckers who elected officials lie about their service. Oh, I got a Bronze Star. No, you don't. You lied about it. But yet, you want to hold us to a high extent, high caliber? Like Sandberg said about bootstrapping. The American black man been bootstrapping ever since he been barefoot.
Facts.
We are your greatest Americans. We're your greatest blacks on this fucking earth. Unlike the Nigerian, unlike the Ghanaian, unlike all these motherfuckers with the exception of the Haitian, We fought back against our tyranny and won. Think about it. But you black people have no culture. Bitch, you got no country. Why are you in my country if I don't have any culture?
Yeah.
If it wasn't for me,
the
you wouldn't be
truth is
here.
that- Correct.
Instead of saying, you help me, I help you, brother. You take your wealth, because the problem, one of the reasons why you're probably over here is because you siphoned off so much of the wealth that the fucking poor people are ready to take your heads off with some machetes. You and your family had to scurry out of there. And don't get me wrong, I'm not shitting on the diaspora. I'm just telling the truth. I don't shit on other people's culture, but for some reason, everybody in the diaspora got to shit on the Negro, the Black American. But yet, it was the Black American who always came to the rescue of everybody else. In World War II, it was the Black Americans that said, let us join and fight and kick the fucking Italians out of fucking Ethiopia.
Yep.
In World War II, last time I checked, the Tuskegee Airmen never had a fucking plane shot down.
Yeah.
World War I, if y'all don't know who the Harlem Hellfighters are, then guess what? You need to rethink your education.
Correct.
We got all this greatness. I think it's the most shameful. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I'm just agreeing with you, and that's what I said, and we're echoing the same sentiment. Is that I have since long paid the price of being a citizen, but never received the benefits of being a citizen. And like I said, so if Charles Kirk could have and I had that conversation, I would bring all of this up. I would bring up the Buffalo Soldiers. I would bring all of this up, and I would say, okay, and so, now what do I get from it, right? What do I get out of it? Because again, it's historically documented what you gave European immigrants, right? It's historically documented. So when America was building its middle class, I was excluded from that process when America was building its middle class. But yet and still, I was here before. So unless you happen to be, to some degree, Spanish, British, or maybe French of heritage, and Irish, I was here long before you. Long before, like I said, again, long before you, and even of those populations, right? Like I said, my forefathers would have been here as late as, like I said, so 1700s or as late as the early 1800s, right? So once the British man of war ships kind of began to block, begin to block Africa to prevent, people from going in and out with slaves, right? And you began to manufacture slaves here domestically, right? And so now there's a domestic slave trade where you're moving people from Alabama to New Orleans, or from, Maryland and Virginia, out to, out to other places. And so that, and Charles, you and I are echoing the exact same point. And what I don't like about the Black left is that, again, they took our image and made our image a one of grievance, right? Because at the end of the day, you have what's called 10 steps of operational diplomacy, right? So kind of like what we were talking about earlier.
Put that in the chat for everybody to study. Y'all got homework. Say it again.
Right. So you have 10 steps of operational diplomacy, right? And so, and like I said, and so in those, and like I said, and so in those 10 steps, right, you're defining, right? You're defining, what it is you are, right? So hold on, just give me a quick second, right? And so we could talk through it, right?
Remember, y'all waking up. There's Cash Apps. Hell, if you don't even have a Cash App, at least put a like on the damn thing. Put a like on Bay's channel. Put a like on my channel. Hell, You're getting some college level shit here.
So
And everybody in here, we like participation. Let us know who's in the chat. Tell us you enjoying this stuff, man. Go ahead. Go ahead. Teach them.
Yeah, so you would have, so your step one is your national interest, and right, and again, we talked about that for Black America, right? So again, you're at a deficit because you're coming out of slavery and you have to first learn how to be a human being, right? So you have to understand what it is to be a human being even prior to engaging life as a citizen, right? For many people, right? So of course there are those who could hit the ground running, but in mass, in mass, that's what it is. So when you look at Booker T. Washington was like, listen, we now have to change our value with society. I said that when I first came to the space, right? And so Booker T. Washington was like, hey, you have your newly found right to vote and you have your labor, right? And so you need to control these things in order to, one, develop yourself, and then later advance an agenda, right? Whereas you will have others who would have different ideas, but those different ideas may have worked in a different environment and at a different time. And so for Black America, the whole concept of what's a national interest, right? And the purpose of a diplomatic effort is to advance the national interest of a state as determined by its legitimate policymakers, right? And so, again, for us, right, you're having to learn how to be a human being. So you're a ways out from statecraft, right? Credibility, diplomacy by its nature, the employment of communication backed by inherent resources of each side to establish an agreement resolving a set of differences and outlining a basis for future relations, right? And so again, right, this is the antebellum South at that particular time. So some people will say, oh, well, he was a sellout. Bro, if my history is correct, at that particular time, there was 4 million of us and 35 million of them, right? So that means that there was 8 point whatever something of them for every one of us, right? So you have no supply chain. The Wakandan Navy is not coming to help you. Who are you going to fucking flex and show your ass to, right? And so now this is what we're talking about. So the credibility now is redefining. Part of it is redefining our image and being of value to the nation. And funny enough, Charles and I have been saying this from the hills prior to when we met, and then when we met, was that what? Black men should flood the military en masse. All of the DOD, the Coast Guard, the Army, the Marine Corps, right? So again, that will be the image. It'll do two things. One, it helps to change the image of Black male America, and it's also a step. It's also a step in us purging out the plantation and the gynocratic culture that we become accustomed to, right? And so, like I said, again, learning to be human, how to, establishing your manhood, having your credibility, clarity. Diplomacy requires the exchange of views and concepts to weave an agreement together for different strands of interest, right? However, Dawn's presentation communication must be precise without ultimately detrimental ambiguity, right? And so, again, right, we're talking about, again, clear goals, right? So national interest, credibility. In the military, we have something called unity of effort and unity of command. And so when Black America talks about clarity, right, what is our agenda? What do you want out of this, right? Because for many of us, freedom could be completely different things, right? Based upon each individual person. And so clarity, what's the goal? Where is it that you want to go? What's the end game, right? Because when you look at what's called white fatigue, the problem is because we did not safeguard civil rights properly, you ended up with tons of voices in that particular movement that wasn't yours, right? And so clarity is also what's your goal, what's your end game, right? When have you achieved, partially, when have you achieved what you wanted to achieve? And so our movement, in a sense, has become one of self-righteousness. And once you're self-righteous, you now become a hypocrite. And I promise you, one day I'll come back into another show and really break these things down bit by bit. Comprehensiveness, right? The comprehensive diplomatic approach seeks to engage and resolve issues that are often inherently multidisciplinary and interdepartmental, right? And to account for the effects on multiple parties of an agreement over time, right? And so, again, right? So, what are our goals? What are we looking to achieve? And so, when Martin Luther King dealt with Lyndon B. Johnson in regards to us integrating, right? And he said, I fear that I led my people into a burning house. You know, for Martin Luther King, I'd have to go back and read my history book, but what were the tangibles? What was supposed to come out of that, right? If any, right? Again, understanding, right? I kind of combine a couple of things, right? So diplomatic operations must be thoroughly grounded in the government's policy, positions, and the circumstances surrounding the issues, and flexibility in the dialogue, right? Perceptiveness. Perception requires discerning thoughts and applying insight to distinguish issues, motives, interests, and positions in negotiating a mutually acceptable solution. Circumspection. Diplomatic operations focus on a particular policy aim, while the policy approach should be comprehensive with respect to the issues and implications at hand. The objectives must be focused and delineated, right? Shout out to intersectionalism, right? Confidence building. Success in diplomatic processes is the product of the parties' willingness to take the risk of trust that a consensus agreement will achieve mutually acceptable objectives, right? Decisiveness. Diplomacy is a means of state diplomacy to produce results. Diplomats must possess the judgment, capacity, and sense of consequences to make decisions at the appropriate moment or when their moral authority can advance national interests and values, right? Perseverance. The commitment to diplomacy uses dialogue to seek policy ends through negotiation. The outcome of diplomatic processes depends not only on the merits of proposals and vision, exchanged and debated, but also on the persistence, optimism, and imagination for interlocutors to envision an acceptable endpoint to the dialogue, right? And so, like I said, I kind of merged some things together. But when you look at operational diplomacy, which is something that is involved in statecraft, you could kind of see where Black people and our development into freedom, we may have engaged in things that we were not necessarily ready for. When the objective was the first, you had to learn how to be human, and then once you became human, what is it to be a citizen, right? And so. And like I said, I know I'm kind of mixing things, and I wish I had time to think it through. But again, if you look at the history of the Black man in the United States, he has always performed the duties of a citizen, right? But never was granted the rights of a citizen. And so, what separates Black men, especially from your intersectional arguments, is this: Black men have been willing to shed blood and fight for America. So when somebody is willing to shed blood and fight for America, to include the fact that Black men were never playing the game of looking to obtain power. They literally wanted to be equal. Hey, the factory pays $2,000 a month plus benefits. I want $2,000 a month plus benefits. But now when you get to your Susan B. Anthony's and your Elizabeth Stanton's, those women wanted power, right? So if you look at feminism, right, a lot of your early feminists, right, those women weren't fighting to be trash collectors or work at the factory. They were fighting to be amongst the top 5% of men, which means that they were looking for power, not necessarily any form of equality or equity. They wanted power. This is why intersectionalist feminists exist, because at some point within the feminist community, people were like, hey, this is a rich bitch argument. This has nothing to do with the everyday woman. And so as a result of that, intersectionalism is born, right? So talk to your local green gorilla, right, who could break that down further than what Sandog has done. And so, like I said, there have been many voices that have come on to civil rights that have drowned out the voices of Black men in this process. And again, that is from my perspective, is because we were engaged in things that we weren't prepared for. And again, understanding concepts like the 10 steps of operational diplomacy. I think that puts us in a position not to partner with people who may not have our best interests at heart, right? So Martin Delany, the father of Black nationalism, told Frederick Douglass not to buddy up with the feminists, but he did, and voila, here we are. The same way you would have people like Joseph Jackson tell Martin Luther King that integration wasn't the way to go, and ultimately, voila, again, here we are. And so I'm not anti people of European descent or anything like that. It's just that African Americans, at least from my perspective, have made decisions in America that ultimately the collective was not prepared for. So maybe a handful of people were prepared for it, but the collective was not prepared for it. And what I tried to explain on the brain trust is one of the biggest sins of Western politics, and why we have the problems that we have now is because in Western politics, whenever there's a problem, right, there's an evil that happens between the public and politicians, and that evil is called expediency, right? And there are problems. So there are certain problems that could take 20 years, 50 years, or maybe 100 years to solve. But when people want their problem fixed, when do we want it? Yesterday, right? And so if that is the state of mind of the American public, which influences the state of mind of the electorate, this is how we get into these problems, because people are looking for quick fixes instead of cures that represent a gradual progression, right? So I hope I didn't talk you guys to death. I'm gonna shut up and stop running my mouth. Some of those definitions, I kind of blended them together, but in another time and space, right, when I have time to prepare, I can actually break these things down for you in regards to operational diplomacy. I could even talk about statecraft, right? And so there was so much of it that we were, as a group, from my perspective, that we were ill prepared for. And by jumping into things that are you're ill prepared for, you, in a sense, retard your own development, right? So I can't jump calculus without doing the basics of arithmetic, right? So, you go arithmetic, you go algebra, you go trigonometry, geometry, and then, on into calculus. And I think that, at least from my perspective, there were things that we've done where we took ourselves from arithmetic to physics, right? And there was a handful of people that can do it, but the majority of us could not do it. And as a result of that, these are the things that have hindered our development, to include the fact that there were factions of us that again, like Booker T. Washington said, wanted to use our dysfunction for their advancement, versus the other part of our history that shows that we are the definition of an American. We are the definition of bootstraps. We are the definition of hard work. And that's a history that no one could take from us, right? Because if I could talk to Charles Kirk, I'd have said, at least your forefathers got something out of it. So my forefathers were here from the 1600s, right? And what did we get? We didn't get the ability to control our own destinies, or even the very relationship with our own women, right? So our children as Black men never really belonged to us in the United States, right? Starting in 1662. So everything that you complain about in regards to Black America are things of your own making, right? But Black men have always been ready, have always shown through the course of America that they are willing and ready to be free, right? And so now, and most unfortunately, either Black men or America at some point have to part their ways, or does America really want to, does white America really want to address this and finally respect the one true partner that they did have in building this country, right? Because other groups of people that come over here have very different interests and motivations for being here. But if you notice, the Black male population actually believes in the Constitution. They actually believe in the Bill of Rights, right? And so I'm not here to disparage other groups of men, but again, their primary motivation of coming here is economic, and over the course of generations, right? over the course of generations, they too will ultimately come to believe these things, right? But I don't think that somebody comes from India over here in mind with the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights. They're coming over here initially purely economic, which is why you have certain immigrant groups that seem to exist kind of in a bubble outside of American culture, whereas Crispus Attucks died believing in the Constitution, believing in we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and are granted certain unalienable rights by their creator, right?
You know what?
So,
Oh, I'm
yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so no, I'm shutting, like I said, so I'm shutting up, right? So I'm shutting up. And so the black men who are on the left, at least from my perspective, have robbed us of the lineage of bootstraps. And they're the ones that have brought in the history of low self-esteem and that we've always been victims. But the version of the history of who we are that I've been raised with, man, like Charles said, I am the definite. I've been pulling my own bootstraps before I had shoes. And there's no other man or demographic of men in America that can make the same claim.
Two things. 4 o'clock, I'm gonna shut it down because I'm tired. And secondly, look, this is what always bothered me as far as like all of this manosphere talk and everything, is that you sit here, you want these traditional conservative relationships with women and everything, but yet you have democratic ideology. How does that doesn't work? You have anti-family behavior. You move anti-family, but you claim you want a family. You talk conservatively concerning relationships and whatnot, but you never talk about your money. You never talk about money. You never talk about jobs, how to get something. There's never that discussion. It's either dick and pussy politics or gossip. Am I making sense here?
Yeah. Well, again, right, because that would be it goes back to what you said, right? Again, that would be the understanding. Now, remember, things evolve, right? So look at the conversation that we're having now, right? So things evolve, right? So when you first go see a therapist, right, you're going to get certain things off your chest. You're going to get so. Look at it in a phase, right? Look at it in a phase. So what you would call dick and pussy politics are people getting out the frustration, right? So you're getting out the frustration. And then once you get past the frustration, right, now that conversation could evolve.
Hit the gym.
Right? Yeah. So no, I'm with you. Like I said, I'm with you. And the issue, and what happens is that for a time, the issue with the manosphere, right, or what would retard the growth was that there were more and more people that were constantly coming, right? And so what I would recommend, to your very point, is that the space would have certain conversations and certain panels that have certain people where the conversation could now be a little bit more evolved. So remember, unfortunately, we're not structured. Yeah. So unfortunately, we're not structured like school, right? So if we were structured to the point where, okay, guys who are coming new and they want to get it out, here's kindergarten. And in kindergarten and first grade, you have these content creators, right? And when you're ready for junior high school, then there are these content creators that you go to, and this is what they talk about. So remember, so even within spiritual systems,
it's a graduation. It's the graduation. Why are you reading my mind?
Yeah. So think about it like the chakra system, right? So your dick and pussy guys, right? That's the root chakra. But guys who are at the heart chakra or maybe even the crown, they are having completely different conversations, right? And so, like I said, over time, the manosphere will develop and it'll delineate. Like I said, it'll have those natural delineations in that manner. But things are an evolution, right? Because I got invited to the Brain Trust once, and they were asking me, what is it that black men want? And I said, this is not a political thing, right? So I said, at the end of the day, people were once here because on this side of the house, they said it was about the working class, right? And so now you have people feeling that the previous platform has failed them. So as an immediate reaction, they're going to go to a new platform. And if that platform fails them, they're going to go to something else. And I said, so at the end of the day, all these things are evolution, and you cannot control evolution, and you cannot control change. And so again, these things are happening and they're evolving at their own pace. And sad and most unfortunately, because we have finite lives of 70 years or less in some cases, right? Or a little bit more in some cases, you may not see the end game of this, right? So you might not see what the end game is going to be, right? Based upon where we are. And so,
but some people are stuck. They never graduate.
Yeah. So some people, and that's the thing, right? And so for some people, they're going to have the conversations again, ultimately at the end of the day, based upon where they are and what their experiences were, right? And so let's say, for instance, my mother loved me, right? So my mother loved me more than she loved the sisterhood. So when I was raised, my mother taught me that women were people too, not to be something on a pedestal. My mother said women piss, shit, and fart the same way you do, right? And so a lot of young men don't get that advice. My mother told me when I was a boy, my mother said, son, when I started talking to girls, my mother said, son, your hetero relationships should have similarities to your same-sex relationships. And because my mother back then used to curse like a sailor. And my mother said, listen, when you're dealing with a young woman, the same shit you won't take off of your buddy Charles Faulkner, don't you take it off that bitch either, because she got big eyes and titties, right? People are fucking people.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
Yeah, what's up, Ray Hummer?
Y'all go ahead.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna let y'all have it for the next 12 minutes.
Yeah. So I'm gonna, you know what I'm saying? So no, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna drop down. I ran my mouth enough, right? And so, you know, again, and so like I said, so we all have different experiences, and I'm just saying this, and we'll shut up, we'll have a different background. And so for me, I could talk the way that I could talk because my dad was a Pan-Africanist, and I was raised with it. I was raised outside of our educational, right? Which is why I have the knowledge of history and everything that I have, because my dad came out of the Moore Science Temple stuff. He came out of the NOI and the Hotep stuff. So when I walk into first grade, right, when I was a boy, the first books my dad gave me walking in the first grade was the whole series of books by Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu, right? So for how many young black men are getting that kind of training, right, from their family and their parents, you know, out of the gate, right? And so we all have, so you have to understand that we all have different starting points in this. And so in the space, there are going to be different places for each of us to go to address the things that we want to address. And with that, guys, I'm going to shut the fuck up. Thank you for letting me run my mouth. Forgive me for the operational diplomacy. And Charles, I could actually come back with some time to think and clearly define these things and give better examples, man. And so for the chat, man, AB, Ray, you know, Nyama, the Nubia killer, right? You know, everybody, you know, us, man. And I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, peace, man. Peace and blessings.
Always a pleasure, Sand Dog. Giving that knowledge.
Yeah.
Oh, baby. Now he doesn't have to cuss me out when I had a show on, so he caught it.
That'll be $5,000 plus gratuity.
And also for the building fund for Dr. Umar.
And I do, and I know it's always going to be with me, but hey, that's part of my history. Yes, I did defeat my ancestors did defeat the Meroites, folks. And it is what it is.
Hey, y'all seen that whole video, man?
Which one?
The
Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, that was, especially the one up close. That was terrible. That was
terrible. That fucking yeah, man.
That video I saw when they showed the actual shooting, that was horrific.
I had to smoke one. I had to smoke one on that one.
And if anybody's celebrating shit like that, I think you're a sick son of a bitch.
Yeah, that man. I had to smoke one on that one.
Disagree, whatever you wanted, but guess what? I think his wife was his wife and kids around.
They were right on the stage. They were on stage with him when he got shot, right in front of him. He got shot. So, I mean, the fact that I don't know how many of y'all remember this a few years ago. Like Congress always had this annual baseball game between Democrats and Republicans, and when the Republicans were practicing for that game, a man walked up and asked, if those were Democrats, Republicans. And when that person answered they're Republicans, that person went off and tried to kill a lot of them as much as possible.
Well, like I said, motherfuckers who do that kind of shit, they deserve the worst punishment.
But at the same time, I have to ask this question. Because keep this in mind. After all is said and done, there's going to be a lot of people going to make a lot of political hay about this whole situation. You're going to have pundits on both sides going back and forth on every television network, back to the regularly scheduled squabbling, so to speak. As someone once said, it's this is a heat market. You make your money by drawing heat, as we say in professional wrestling. Controversy, fear, stoking animosities. That's how most people, make their make their bread. And so on these networks, even now, I'm sure there are people just pointing fingers at one another, saying this is what happens with this and that goes on. This is what happened. This is how it is. Imagine how many people are going to be saying R.I.P. Charlie Kirk, and then they're going to do some virtual signaling as well. Find the line what I just said.
I hear you, but I tagged my live, man, that I made just now moments ago. But I tagged the president in that one. Damn it. Yeah, because I showed where he made his response. Yeah, I see Trump's response.
No, I didn't.
Oh, yeah, I didn't. Okay, I thought y'all may have shared it already.
Actually, let me close the show out with it because I had it, but I never did play it. I apologize for that because I was about to throw it up on my my TikTok.
Oh, you good? Shit, y'all better stream than I am. Shit, nigga, hell, might be a little struggle streaming a little bit, but my streaming got a little better now with Rumble. Thank God. My videos playing smooth, no ads.
I'm filled
Because when
with
you have
grief
ads in
and
your video,
anger
when you're screen sharing, that's like double the ads.
Here we go.
the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah. Charlie inspired millions, and tonight, all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror. Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate and the country that he loved so much, the United States of America. He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there's never been anyone who was so respected by youth. Charlie was also a man of deep, deep faith, and we take comfort in the knowledge that he is now at peace with God in heaven. Our prayers are with his wife, Erica, the two young, beloved children, and his entire family, who he loved more than anything in the world. We ask God to watch over them in this terrible hour of heartache and pain. This is a dark moment for America. Charlie Kirk traveled the nation, joyfully engaging with everyone interested in good faith debate. His mission was to bring young people into the political process, which he did better than anybody ever, to share his love of country and to spread the simple words of common sense. On campuses nationwide, he championed his ideas with courage, logic, humor, and grace. It's a long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year, in the most hateful and despicable way possible. For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now. My administration will find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity and to other political violence, including the organizations that fund it and support it, as well as those who go after our judges, law enforcement officials, and everyone else who brings order to our country. From the attack on my life in Butler, Pennsylvania last year, which killed a husband and father, to the attacks on ICE agents, to the vicious murder of a healthcare executive in the streets of New York, to the shooting of House Majority Leader Steve Scalise and 3 others, radical left political violence has hurt too many innocent people and taken too many lives. Tonight, I ask all Americans to commit themselves to the American values for which Charlie Kirk lived and died, the values of free speech, citizenship, the rule of law, and the patriotic devotion and love of God. Charlie was the best of America, and the monster who attacked him was attacking our whole country. An assassin tried to silence him with a bullet, but he failed, because together we will ensure that his voice, his message, and his legacy will live on for countless generations to come. Today, because of this heinous act, Charlie's voice has become bigger and grander than ever before, and it's not even close. May God bless his memory, may God watch over his family, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Now, to Chris Carter's statement, everybody know that he had very racist, white supremacist rhetoric. See, this is the problem with Americans today, like I said earlier. You could easily defeat a white supremacist. Just use logic. A lot of people don't like to talk about that logic because too many people get emotional. Yeah, I know you're a racist. I know you, but do I need to take your life? No. Because this is what people realize something. If we silence one person, First Amendment rights, then guess who's next? We are.
Yep. So police need to get up on their ass over there. They need to get on their ass there and get this motherfucker. They say they haven't caught him yet.
Because I heard they got a suspect, but you need to. This is something that no American should stand for. This is bigger than Charlie Kirk. We can't have people
right
in this liberal-minded, soft-minded, because this is all soft-minded shit.
Mm-hmm.
If you got a guy like Ray or ABM or Bay or Sandog or Neighbor or myself, we've been debating for years. Sometimes each other. And what you realize is this. If you get to the point where you want to take a person's life after the debate, it's not the other person, it's obviously you.
And that's what I mentioned in my stream, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Because I just came out with it, bro, from the heart, man. Like, from the chest, man. Like, my chest sticking out to the sun type of shit. And just let out and said, hey, Mr. President, you said, damn it, hey, you know, we can't stand for the shit. So, therefore, you see, he knows, therefore, damn it. I was like, you know what the hell is going on. So, I'm like, so I'll tell you this, Mr. President, we can't take this shit no more. You know what I mean? No matter, damn it, hell, if it was a black man, white man, or some people were saying if it was Candace Owens and shit, you know, and I'm like, yeah, we can't stand for this evil no more, bro. So when we catch this shit sparking, then we're gonna get right up on that shit real quick. We're gonna break this shit real quick. Because that shit happened to me, Mr. President. when I called the law enforcement on my brother for pulling a firearm on me because I spoke the truth to his ass, because I told him straight up before God, as I say this, that nigga, you is a beta male simp mangina, always beholden to the bitch, nigga, never want to stand up to be a fucking man. And all because of that, he chose to pull a fucking gun on me, nigga. And law enforcement, nigga, a white cop let him get away with it? No, sir, nigga. No, sir. So they basically aided and abetted motherfuckers with that kind of mentality to do that kind of shit, like what they did to fucking to Kirk. Nah, man, no more, bro. No more, Mr. President. Do something now. I wrote out to you, Mr. President. I need your answer, sir. I need retribution. I need money now, sir.
I think a lot of times we forget in America this one thing, Ray and everybody. For evil to persist, good men, all they got to do is absolutely nothing. And I'm not saying Charlie Kirk's a good man. Yeah, there's a lot of bullshit he said that was blatantly racist, blatantly white supremacist. But what the fuck needs to go on is that we cannot allow people to suppress our rights. People want to make this a Second Amendment and First Amendment issue. No, first of all, Second Amendment ain't got shit to do with it, because a gun is nor evil nor good. It's just the way that it's utilized. Number two.
Oh, go ahead.
When you have somebody trying to suppress something that someone says, and they're not, oh yeah, like white on white crime. Trust me, nobody wants to talk about how there's majority of white people commit sex offenses. Overwhelmingly, over 100,000 more than anybody else.
Sex offenses, fucking meth, and all that shit. Drunk accidents and shit, like on the road, fucking people up on the road.
Traffic accidents, DUIs, substance abuse. Most of them, they get like lighter sentences compared to black people.
And you got to think about it. Not one motherfucker up here can know what Charlie Kirk has said. What we said is that it's fucked up that he had to die in front of his family.
Yeah.
And his wife did not deserve that, especially since it was him and not them. No child deserves to see their father go out in such a gruesome way.
Well, here's this kid.
Ask Malcolm X's 4 daughters.
His family is never there. They never go to his events because of, well, shit like this.
Security reasons, yeah.
Yeah, just, I mean,
go ahead.
Finish what you were saying, Ben.
But at any rate, I mean, if you heard what Trump said, if you were reading between the lines, I think he's done with the Democratic Party and the bullshit that they're pulling. I think he's done with them.
I kind of think that too.
I don't blame them. They try to take him out.
Yeah, that's what the fuck I said. I said the same shit in my damn live. I was like, hey, Mr. President, these are the same people, damn it, hell, that aided and abetted this motherfucker, damn it, and pulled a fire on me. Is the same motherfuckers that try to take you out. Is the same motherfuckers that took Charlie Kirk out. They're all in the same hive mind.
What is to stop somebody from doing something retaliatory in the same fashion? Like, say, a leftist speaker gets killed or something like that.
Well, that's the whole thing right there, because you have leftist podcasters who are running their little mouths, and I'm like, you do understand that you are very findable. You're very findable, and
a lot of people can get touched.
And you're
nigga, this is equilibrium.
People, I look based on the temperature in the room. The people on the right, they're done playing nice. They're done being quiet. They're done. We may not see value in Charlie Kirk, but they did. You saw that Kevin? That dude's a multi-millionaire just by, being a speaker, a motivational speaker, whatever, a debater. He was a multi-millionaire. Somebody gave a fuck. And somebody's going to definitely reach out and touch somebody over this. A lot of people about to get touched over this. That's the whole point why we're here tonight. We just got to stay the fuck out the way.
No, yeah, I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? I ain't gonna be no bitch made motherfucker, you know, scared and let motherfucker put their foot up my ass. So therefore, like I said in my stream, my nigga, shit, real talk, I'm letting motherfuckers have it. Damn it, you ain't gonna have me be scared to tell the fucking truth, motherfucker. But you can, but like you motherfuckers on that side of that mentality can be the ones that get us told. Oh hell no, you got me fucked up.
Exactly. Think about it.
You know, the Most High God.
What's the old saying? Though I walk in the shadow of the valley of death, I shall do not. I shall do what?
I shall not fear no evil.
And guess what? You're gonna have some evil time. This is the reason why
People need to learn martial arts, prayer, get their spiritual game up. Damn it, they body train. They get fucking ready, damn it, for any of these crazy ass, wild ass chaos goblins when they start. Because them, as we see, they'll come out of nowhere.
you got to remember, and Bay will tell you, ABM will tell you, Sandog, Namer, Ray, and one saying, a lot of you guys who've been following us for years, we talk about some controversial shit, okay? To somebody, we may be Charlie Kirk. Did anybody think about that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I was saying, man. Because like I'm pissed because like I'm seeing myself on that stage, or I can see you on that stage. You know what I mean? I can see bro on that stage. You know what I mean? Anybody on that stage, Edward. You know what I mean? Because what's the difference? Like, okay, when we go up there and speak, oh wow, you know, we may get paid and shit. Like bro said, you know what I mean? We say pay, okay.
Imagine somebody.
Yeah, so you know what I mean? Yeah, and any one of us can get taken out because of that.
Imagine somebody pissed off because of something we said that can be subjective, maybe even objective, but doesn't have the intellectual prowess or the intestinal fortitude to debate us one-on-one as equals or intellectual equals, but you want to take a person's life. You're a fucking coward. And then you didn't even do it by coming up to the guy, giving him a chance to defend himself. You did it from a distance.
Yeah.
And I said this. Think about it. People say, well, it's not about Charlie Kirk. It's the fact that anybody who reps this black manosphere, black male, independent shit is subject to be looked at as somebody who's a radical. You're not the norm. Okay?
I mean, shit, is it that hard to find the traces of where the motherfucker shot from? Because it seemed like the force of it, yeah, I mean, I don't know, man, like the distance of it, though, so I'm not talking like I'm
You got video of the shooter on the roof.
Yeah, he was on the roof.
Yeah, there's video of the shooter on the roof before he shot, just like with Trump. People like, there's a guy on the roof, and nobody did nothing. Same thing with Charlie Kirk. There's a guy on the roof. Nobody did nothing. And then the old white man and somebody else, a dude that had a BB gun, they helped facilitate the shooter's escape. At least that's the rumor. Because why would the old man suddenly say, oh, I did it. And then, of course, when he get hemmed up, you saw he was quiet as a goddamn church mouse, even with his drawers being exposed and everything. Right. He not saying nothing. And now people trying to say, well, he got mental issues. Nah, I don't buy that.
Yeah. Oh, hell no.
I don't buy that.
Well, I mean, they must not have bought it because buy that because damn it, they chose to let him go.
You're telling me.
I think it's. I put it to you. Okay, I put it to you like this. And Charles, you used to, you know, the catch and release. Let's see what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what you do.
Keep an eye on
him. Let's see what he do.
So now you
let his ass go, man.
Now you have the full strength of the Justice Department. Because remember, this is a hate crime now. This is a public. This is not just a murder. This is a political assassination.
Well, it's from the interconnected network of the feminists and leftists and the gynocrats and them, the feminists. All the motherfuckers in one. It's all from them. The LGBT too. Yep, all that whole damn clan. That's all from them. It's from their crowd.
What's the over under that the shooter is trans? Turns out to be a trans.
Oh God! Just like with the mass shooting, the last mass shooting, it was.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna be one of those days where I don't think anybody who's I would say this. I appreciate the compliment, LAPD SWAT, but even with that, that would even test my expertise. I don't even know if we would have been like. But I'll tell you one thing: you're gonna see a lot of protective details with a bunch of defensive marksmen or snipers, counter snipers, and a lot of protective high-profile details from now on. You just changed the game because now, look at it. We're less than a year removed from a fucking sitting president nearly being assassinated. Do people realize that? We're only a year removed from a fucking sitting president nearly being killed.
He mentioned that in his speech, as you heard.
And think about this.
He's pissed.
Protective details are now, and LAPD SWAT knows what I'm talking about. You're going to need a designated defensive marksman and or a counter sniper to these high-profile people, which, I mean, unfortunately, is going to be a lot of good money for those people. Unfortunately, people like Charlie Kirk, had to die, but
have anti-terrorist fucking snipers and shit. Them have them motherfuckers be up on the damn roofs in decent locations to where they can cover up the all ground of where the motherfuckers talking at. You know what I mean? So there needs to be a better force, a security force formed for those who standing on the truth and shit. You know what I mean? So even though they may have some little wayward views on certain shit, but as long as they sticking to what creates family under God, amen. So shit, that's what all matters. We need to protect people like that, amen.
Wait till Trump gets around to examining or having Cash Patel examine his first assassination attempt, because you clearly saw the Secret Service pointing their guns at the guy, looking dead at him, and waited until after he took the shot at Trump to light him up.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we still haven't gotten any information about him whatsoever.
Not a bunch.
Yeah.
And by the way, Bay, Keisha said, between you and Sang, dog, y'all were speaking y'all good shit, that intellectual shit.
No, so I appreciate it.
She said this is what every person needs to hear. She was thoroughly impressed between the back and forth with you and Sang, dog.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing for us to argue about, But look, y'all, I am tired. It's 4:15 in the morning. So we gotta go.
Let's get the hell out of here.
We gotta go. I'll give y'all 15 minutes for parting shots.
I'm just gonna be like this for this parting shot. Look, stay armed, get in the back, get your health up. Number one, get your health up.
Amen.
Everything else that needs to be done, but get your mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional. Yeah, I know, ABM Keisha. Get your mental, spiritual, physical, and emotional health up.
It's time for breakfast, nigga. Shit.
Get armed. You should not walk to your fucking car and not have your head on a swivel. You teach your girls, teach your boys. Have your keys in your hand. Have something sharp.
Get armed. Get body armor. Shit.
Get your blood work done. Be healthy. There's no fucking point of trying to survive if you're not healthy. Look, get to your local gun range. If you don't have the skills, pay for them. You pay for lesser shit that does not prolong your life. I'm going to say it again. You pay for lesser skills or lesser objects that won't prolong your life. Get on. I told you should have a pistol, shotgun, and a rifle. I don't give a fuck who it is. Pistol, shotgun, rifle. You should have one. If you have little kids, you should have a fingerprint lockbox.
Shit, I'm getting a P90.
If your kids are old enough, shit, do what I do. Put it underneath your pillow. I'm going to tell you. Number one, train your kids. Train your women. There should be no time that anybody in your household should be a victim. Number three, be aware of your situations and surroundings. Head on a swivel. If it looks fucked up, trust those sixth senses. Your ancestors gave you that shit for a reason.
And I'm getting the SPAS 12, motherfucker.
And I'm going to tell you this. Don't practice carrying book bags and rucksacks because you never know. Have some type of equipment in your car. Some water, some MREs, some whatever, blankets, emergency stuff. It's about to be wintertime in the next couple of months. I don't know. It might be icy. You might be stuck in traffic. You might have a car shut. You might can't go anywhere. There's going to be a lot of this creep. Remember, I'm going to tell you, guess when all your robberies pick up? October on down to December. Okay? All your home invasions and burglaries pick up October on down to December. You literally had an army officer, a police officer, one of the brothers of the you have so many people who come to these channels giving y'all game. Listen, we're all we got. We're the only people who can protect. Look, if you got neighbors you could trust, family you could trust, y'all should have a plan. Get your people. Don't think your child's too young. Your child's too young if they're crawling. Okay? Once your child comes to a certain age, they should be trained on how to do things, how to retreat, how to push their heavy dresser. That's why I hate IKEA shit, because your dresser should be something you can use as offensive and defensive. Learn how to barricade yourself in the house. Teach your kids that. Learn how to use knives. Learn how to use guns. Learn how to save your own life with first aid. Learn how to do simple shit that prolongs us, okay? This shit, protect your Second Amendment and your First Amendment rights. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. There's a lot of sick, jealous, angry people out there. Because like I said before, excuse me, that's that young. Powerful. You don't know who the fuck out there. We're Charlie Kirk to them. Oh, you talk about black women. Bow, bow, bow. Some simp or some angry fucking gynocrat pulling a knife or gun on you because she heard you on a podcast instead of actually turning it off or debating logic. You never know what could be out there.
Basically, motherfuckers that want to take you out for telling the truth.
Exactly. Watch yourself. Always learn the truth. Don't take anything for face value. Watch your six. Keep your ass low. Keep your head lower. Woo!
Peace.
Let's get out of here, babe.
All right.
Black people have always had a certain amount of moral currency that we have been using. And let me be the first to tell you, that's used up. White America has been watching us act like fools for a long enough time where any sympathy they may have had to our plight is completely gone. You're approaching a country that, forget hating black people or not hating black people, they just don't care. You're going to be talking about affirmative action, they're going to be like, I don't care. It literally is of no importance to me. I don't care about slavery. I don't care about segregation. I don't care about you. I don't care how many of you all go to jail. I don't care at all, because I'm broke. You can't be the proud, noble fighter when every single time someone sees a person that looks like you on television, they're acting like a damn fool. How would they know? How would they know you're not a damn fool?